and the vendors. And today we've been able to deliver a first-class farmers market combined with a bus terminal, the only one of its kind in St. Lucia, to the people of Soufrière Saint Jacques. Another project which we promised the people of Soufrière Saint Jacques that we were going to deliver to them was the Esperance Diamond Road. After 40 years, they are finally getting a new road connecting Font Saint Jacques and Soufrière through Diamond. We have undertaken a comprehensive major rehabilitation of the Soufrière Mini Stadium to make it a world-class sporting facility. We have some very critical projects, critical interventions, which we would like to see take place in Soufrière in the next 5 years. So one priority project for us in the new term is going to be the construction of a Soufrière community, cultural and theatre arts center. We also want to focus on housing, and therefore we want to concentrate on opening up parts of the constituency where you could have housing development, housing schemes, where we can make lots available to the young people of Soufrière Saint Jacques. Vote for me as your candidate, your next parliamentary representative, and I can assure you that Soufrière is going to continue on the trajectory of progress, growth, development, empowerment, and opportunities for all. Performance matters. Let's keep working.
Herod he best lap. I know a lot of man, but Herod is the best one. Mokoneta shine up. Herod he best lap.
What if you didn't need a lie detector? Eye contact is linked with truthfulness.
A drastic move by the National Housing Corporation has led to the termination of 2 lucrative contracts for the construction company Fresh Start.
The board took the decision that not only Shock, but both Shock and Talvin developments,
Eye contact,
which were supposedly the subject matter of an 80-20 arrangement.
Eye contact is linked with truthfulness.
How much is it costing us for that termination?
Well, put it this way.
When people are lying, they're less likely to be specific. This is a massive red flag.
Both of the developments were started illegally. And once you start an illegal development, you do it at your own risk.
So how is it illegal?
Because there was no DC approval for either of them.
The 2 housing schemes under the UWP administration were developed with the aim of providing low-cost housing while tackling the issue of unplanned settlements.
Some liars are just really good at acting.
Madam President, I think that some people should be ashamed to look at the St. Lucian public in the eye. Because it's one of 2 things. It's either they all knew and they were all duped. And if they knew, Madam President, today is the day to make things right. We don't want to have the usual, when you was there, oh, your government this, Alan Chasney. If anybody here has any virtue, and you should all stand one by one and apologize to the public of St. Lucia. Tell them I'm sorry. Perhaps the many times we came last year to bring in certain legislations, while we have the members opposite pontificating and beating their hands on their chest, telling the people how good they were at trying to, help them in terms of giving them waivers and tax breaks on interest and penalties. I'm sure you remember that, Madam President, how they were so happy and proud to say that they care about the businesses and the people, and they were giving them those tax breaks. We are finding out today that's not the case, Madam President. That's not the case. They were only doing that because they were forced by the Caribbean Development Bank as precondition for this loan that they had to borrow. So they went to Caribbean Development Bank, they had to borrow, and the bank said, but you must do this, you must do 1, 2, 3. I didn't say it, they did. That the bank said to them, you must do those things, and so they came to Parliament and said, we're doing this and we're doing that, but all the time. It was never out of the goodness of their heart. Never out of the goodness of their heart. Never because they cared about the people.
Complete fabrication, complete. Example, I was in court of Onasile to pervert justice. Never happened. Never happened.
Flashback.
Prime Minister Philippe and Speaker of the House Claudius Francis were also present at the court hearing in a show of support.
Never happened. Never happened.
Okay? The member from Castries, he said it was only a madman who would believe that tourism would have recovered.
Mr. Speaker, I'm challenging you. Anything I say, he'll say, I'll hear it. That's a challenge. Anything, Mr. Speaker, I'll say that the member from Middle South says, I'll play a tape. I challenge him. Anything he says, I say, play a tape.
Flashback.
The government is continuing as usual, as if nothing happened. The government of St. Lucia is the only government that believes that tourism will get back to how it was pre-COVID. I think it's the only government in the world that believes that. There's no other government, I think, who believes that except the government of St. Lucia. So what do? We continue with business as usual. We continue to build an airport based on the fact that our airport would get its income from arrivals. Are you serious? Do you really believe? I never knew. I never understood the impact of tourism in St. Lucia.
Let's take one thing, the 2.5% tax. Prime Minister came and passed 2.5%
health and levy
and security levy. Okay, he said it was specifically designed for monies to go and strengthen healthcare and security. Correct? And that he said that he's asking the people of this country to make a sacrifice. That he knows it's going to be hard. He knows these are difficult times, but he wants people to make that sacrifice for this. To now find out it never had anything to do with health and security. Now, most people would have known that. We pointed out at the time that there was no increase in health and security in any one of those ministries. But today, or on Tuesday, we found out for the first time, through the Prime Minister's own words, that the introduction of the tax was a condition to the loan to recover revenue.
So mouth open and story jump out.
Correct. And we should all be extremely upset because, again, what is this? This is a breach of the trust. This is a betrayal. Right? This is a fabrication of what the truth was. Mm-hmm. The people of St. Lucia have been deceived. As we say, we've been sold a 6 for a 9. Right?
So come Friday, right around the Printry from by Parliament, coming across onto Jeremy Street, that area will be deemed a no vending zone. I call on all vendors who currently occupy that area to dismantle whatever pieces of steel, whatever old tarpaulins, whatever old tables they have in the area. Because if they are left there, we will have no choice but than to deal with them appropriately.
Flashback.
As the MP for Castries Central, in terms of your vision for the constituency, where do the vendors fit in?
I'll tell you one thing. Nobody will interfere with any vendor anywhere again. Nobody. Walk through Manhattan. Vendors all on the sidewalks. That is what gives a city its character. Nobody under my watch is touching no vendor.
So come Friday, right around the Printry from by Parliament, coming across onto Jeremy Street, that area will be deemed a no vending zone. I call on all vendors who currently occupy that area to dismantle whatever pieces of steel, whatever old tarpaulins, whatever old tables they have in the area. Because if they are left there, we will have no choice but than to deal with them appropriately.
Flashback.
As the MP for Castries Central, in terms of your vision for the constituency, where do the vendors fit in?
I'll tell you one thing. Nobody will interfere with any vendor anywhere again. Nobody. Walk through Manhattan. Vendors all on the sidewalks. That is what
gives a city its character. Nobody under my watch is touching no vendor.
If we show emotion, we're called dramatic. When we made bold
Madam President, I think it's important to make the point that today we're borrowing $152 million. And year to date in this financial year, when we look at the various order papers that we have analyzed in the House, and my colleague did a very fantastic job in doing that. She did so for the calendar year. We see that year to date, it's over $400 million that this administration will have borrowed, coming here on separate occasions to borrow money.
I feel best stupid, me know what he about, and as a Prime Minister made loss.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
I feel best stupid, me know what he about, and as a Prime Minister made loss.
Hi, my name is Dominic Fede, representing the constituency of Ancillary Canneries, and really my candidacy for this election is about bringing out the best in the constituency. We've accomplished some 15 inner community roads together. When I look at the cemetery road and I think of women coming to a funeral in high heels and had to bring 2 pairs of shoes because of the mud. Those days are gone. We built the HRD center and we have had some 200 individuals who have been trained within the first few months of opening. We want to build more houses. We want to help more of you. We want to create more jobs. And some of the ideas that we have include a call center in the constituency where, when completed, would generate some 400 to 600 jobs. When I look at the ancillary waterfront project, the jetty is going to be extended. The Amini Hotel is already at the ground floor and being built. The square is being redone. There's a restaurant in the location of the old community center building. This is going to transform the ancillary waterfront. The drain around the field has been much talk, and it's been an eyesore, and it has been a source of much discomfort to the people of Ancillary. But I am happy to tell you that after fighting hard for it together, we are now in a position where the drain is being built. I'm asking you to support us because I'm convinced that we have the superior vision for St. Lucia. So if you're from Canaries Ancillary, then you know you have to stay with Fede. Let's keep working.
Regarding the matter of underpricing, there's official memorandum from the Citizenship by Investment Program dated April 15, 2024, and it reads unlawful reduction of real estate investment sum. And I'll read that memo for you. From the inception of St. Lucia's CIP program on 1st January 2016 until 31st December 2022, the qualifying investment sum into an approved real estate project was a minimum of $300,000, along with the applicable administrative fee. These are things that is very important to you. And that was changed by the leader of the opposition. His government reduced it.
Last year, Mr. Vice President, St. Lucia's debt repayment increased by a whooping 17.2%. 17.2% to a gigantic $341.3 million. $341.3 million. It's in the Economic and Social Review. Not me, not my figures, not my words. This means that the taxpayers of this country, Mr. Vice President, are obligated to repay $27,608,343.43 per month, or almost $1 million a day in debt repayment. That's what it means. Mr. Vice President, with our limited liquidity, this high debt servicing obligation places additional pressures on the government's.
I am Herod Stanislas, your United Workers' Party candidate for Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques. One of the main campaign promises which I made in 2016 was the Hummingbird Beach. So this project have significantly benefited the people of Soufrière as entrepreneurs and created many sustainable jobs. Another project which I'm very proud of is the Old Trafford complex. This again was another campaign promise to build a farmers market for the farmers of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques and the vendors. And today we've been able to deliver a first-class farmers market combined with a bus terminal, the only one of its kind in St. Lucia, to the people of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques. Another project which we promised the people of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques that we were going to deliver to them was the Esperance Diamond Road. After 40 years, they are finally getting a new road connecting Font-Saint-Jacques and Soufrière through Diamond. We have undertaken a comprehensive major rehabilitation of the Soufrière Mini Stadium to make it a world-class sporting facility. We have some very critical projects, critical interventions, which we would like to see take place in Soufrière in the next 5 years. So one priority project for us in the new term is going to be the construction of a Soufrière community, cultural and theatre arts center. We also want to focus on housing, and therefore we want to concentrate on opening up parts of the constituency where you could have housing development, housing schemes, where we can make lots available to the young people of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques. Vote for me as your candidate, your next parliamentary representative, and I can assure you that Soufrière is going to continue on the trajectory of progress, growth, development, empowerment, and opportunities for all. Performance matters. Let's keep working.
Herod keep best luck. I know a lot of man, but Herod is the best one. Mokoneta shine on. Herod the best rap.
What if you didn't need a lie detector? Eye contact is linked with truthfulness.
A drastic move by the National Housing Corporation has led to the termination of 2 lucrative contracts for the construction company Fresh Start.
The board took the decision that not only Shock, but both Shock and Talvin developments,
Eye contact,
which were supposedly the subject matter of an 80-20 arrangement.
Eye contact is linked with truthfulness.
How much is it costing us for that termination?
Well, put it this way.
When people are lying, they are less likely to be specific. This is a massive red flag.
Both of the developments were started illegally. And once you start an illegal development, you do it at your own risk.
So how is it illegal?
Because there was no DC approval for either of them.
The 2 housing schemes under the UWP administration were developed with the aim of providing low-cost housing while tackling the issue of unplanned settlements.
Some liars are just really good at acting.
Madam President, I think that some people should be ashamed to look at the seclusion public in the eye. Because it's one of two things. It's either they all knew and they were all duped. And if they knew, Madam President, today is the day to make things right. We don't want to have the usual, when you all was there, oh your government this, Alan Shasney. If anybody here has any virtue, and you should all stand one by one and apologize to the public of the country. Tell them I'm sorry. Perhaps the many times we came last year to bring in certain legislations, while we have the members opposite pontificating and beating their hands on their chest, telling the people how good they were at trying to, help them in terms of giving them waivers and tax breaks on interest and penalties. I'm sure you remember that, Madam President, how they were so happy and proud to say that they care about the businesses and the people, and they were giving them those tax breaks. We are finding out today that's not the case, Madam President. That's not the case. They were only doing that because they were forced by the Caribbean Development Bank as precondition for this loan that they had to borrow. So they went to Caribbean Development Bank, they had to borrow, and the bank said, but you must do this, you must do 1, 2, 3. I didn't say it, they did. That the bank said to them, you must do those things, and so they came to Parliament and said, we're doing this and we're doing that, but all the time, it was never out of the goodness of their heart. Never out of the goodness of their heart. Never because they cared about the people.
Complete fabrication, complete. Example, I was in court with Ernest Hilaire to pervert justice. Never happened. Never happened.
Flashback.
Prime Minister Philip and Speaker of the House Claudius Francis were also present at the court hearing in a show of support.
Never happened. Never happened.
Okay? The member from Castries, he said it was only a madman who would believe that tourism would have recovered.
Mr. Speaker, I'm challenging you. Anything I say, he'll say, I'll hear it. That's a challenge. Anything, Mr. Speaker, I'll say. Like the member from Meeple South says, I'll play it. I challenge him. Anything he says, I say, play it.
Flashback.
The government is continuing as usual, as if nothing happened. The government of St. Lucia is the only government that believes that tourism will get back to how it was pre-COVID. I think it's the only government in the world that believes that. There's no other government, I think, who believes that except the government of St. Lucia. So what do? We continue with business as usual. We continue to build an airport based on the fact that our airport would get its income from arrivals. Are you serious? Do you really believe? I never knew. I never understood the impact of tourism in St. Lucia.
Let's take one thing, the 2.5% tax. Prime Minister came and passed 2.5%
health and levy
and security levy. Okay, he said it was specifically designed for monies to go and strengthen healthcare and security. Correct? And then he said that he's asking the people of this country to make a sacrifice. That he knows it's going to be hard. He knows these are difficult times, but he wants people to make that sacrifice for this. to now find out it never had anything to do with health and security. Now, most people would have known that. We pointed out at the time that there was no increase in health and security in any one of those ministries. But today, or on Tuesday, we found out for the first time, through the Prime Minister's own words, that the introduction of the tax was a condition to the loan to recover revenue.
So mouth open and story jump out.
Correct. And we should all be extremely upset because, again, what is this? This is a breach of the trust. This is a betrayal, right? This is a fabrication of what the truth was. Mm-hmm. The people of St. Lucia have been deceived. As we say, we've been sold a 6 for a 9, right?
So come Friday, right around the Printry from by Parliament, coming across onto Jeremy Street, that area will be deemed a no vending zone. I call on all vendors who currently occupy that area to dismantle whatever pieces of steel, whatever old tarpaulins, whatever old tables they have in the area. Because if they are left there, we will have no choice but than to deal with them appropriately.
Flashback.
As the MP for Castries Central, in terms of your vision for the constituency, where do the vendors fit in?
I'll tell you one thing. Nobody will interfere with any vendor anywhere again. Nobody. Walk through Manhattan. Vendors all on the sidewalks. Yes. That is what gives a city its character. Nobody under my watch is touching no vendor.
If we show emotion, we're called dramatic. When we made bold promises, they said,
Did you know that under the UWP, a total of 871 citizenships were sold between 2016 and 2021? So far, the SLP has sold 14,000 citizenships in 3 years.
Did you know that the price of fuel was capped at $13.95 per gallon under the UWP last 3 years?
Did you know that homicides have increased by 25% since Philip J. Pierre became Prime Minister? Over 280 homicides have been recorded in the last 3 years. Did you know that the price of kerosene increased from $7 a gallon under the UWP to $11.69 per gallon under the SLP? A whopping $4.69 more per gallon.
Did you know that Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre cancelled the National Health Insurance Program, which was started by the UWP, and would have given every St. Lucian $75,000 worth of healthcare coverage every year?
Cemetery Road and I think of women coming to a funeral in high heels and had to bring 2 pairs of shoes because of the mud. Those days are gone. We built the HRD center and we have had some 200 individuals who have been trained within the first few months of opening. We want to build more houses. We want to help more of you. We want to create more jobs. And some of the ideas that we have include a call center in the constituency where, when completed, would generate some 400 to 600 jobs. When I look at the ancillary waterfront project, the jetty is going to be extended. A mini hotel is already at the ground floor and being built. The square is being redone. There's a restaurant in the location of the old community center building. This is going to transform the ancillary waterfront. The drain around the field has been much talk and it's been an eyesore and it has been a source of much discomfort to the people of ancillary. But I am happy to tell you that after fighting hard for it together, we are now in a position where the drain is being built. I'm asking you to support us because I'm convinced that we have the superior vision for St. Lucia. So if you're from Canaries Ancillary, then you know you have to stay with Fede. Let's keep working.
Regarding the matter of underpricing, there's official memorandum from the Citizenship by Investment Program dated April 15, 2024. And it reads, unlawful reduction of real estate investment sum. And I'll read that memo for you. From the inception of St. Lucia's CIP program on 1st January 2016 until 31st December 2022, the qualifying investment sum into an approved real estate project was a minimum of $300,000 along with the applicable administrative fee. These are things that is very important to you. And that was changed by the leader of the his government reduced it.
Last year, Mr. Vice President, St. Lucia's debt repayment increased by a whooping 17.2%. 17.2% to a gigantic $341.3 million. $341.3 million. It's in the Economic and Social Review. Not me, not my figures, not my words. This means that the taxpayers of this country, Mr. Vice President, are obligated to repay $27,608,343.43 per month, or almost $1 million a day in debt repayment. That's what it means. Mr. Vice President, with our limited liquidity, this high debt servicing obligation places additional pressures on the government's.
I am Herod Stanislas, your United Workers' Party candidate for Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques. One of the main campaign promises which I made in 2016 was the Hummingbird Beach. So this project have significantly benefited the people of Soufrière as entrepreneurs and created many sustainable jobs. Another project which I'm very proud of is the Old Trafford complex. This again was another campaign promise to build a farmers market for the farmers of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques and the vendors. And today we've been able to deliver a first-class farmers market combined with a bus terminal, the only one of its kind in St. Lucia, to the people of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques. Another project which we promised the people of Soufrière Font-Saint-Jacques that we were going to deliver to them was the Esperance Diamond Road. After 40 years, they are finally getting a new road connecting Font-Saint-Jacques and Soufrière through Diamond. We have undertaken a comprehensive major rehabilitation of the Soufrière Mini Stadium to make it a world-class sporting facility. We have some very critical projects, critical interventions, which we would like to see take place in Soufrière in the next 5 years. So one priority project for us.
Or maybe you're even at home and you're looking at us on our Facebook page, or you're on UTV. We want to say welcome to another Sunday Flambeau Live. As you can see, your normal host, Mr. Leonard Spider-Montut, is not there. So, Sayodi, Leon Pala, Alot Kasi Portelot, right? Okay, United Workers' Party is never short of a man or a woman, so our Sunday lives continue. Wherever you are, Mr. Montut, I wish you Godspeed. But tonight, we are in the constituency of Grosile. Grosile passe! There's a lot of Grosile people here tonight. All right. Well, we're going to have a wonderful time tonight. We're going to bring to you the issues that are affecting St. Lucia and St. Lucians, and we continue to inform and educate you as to our orange protest, because people are still asking and people are still a little bit concerned and querying some of the issues. So we want to bring you clarity on these issues so that you can say and decipher for yourself what your position is and your position will be on our orange protest. Now, as is customary with the United Workers' Party, everything we do with prayer and our national anthem. So if you will please join me by standing at attention, we will sing our national anthem, and afterwards we will have a prayer by Miss Jenny St. Croix. So let's stand at attention as we play our national anthem. Remain standing as Miss Jenny St. Croix opens us in a word of prayer.
As we stand reverently in prayer, dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to gather in friendship and harmony once again. Help us, unity, to make this session a successful and effective one. We humbly invite your presence into this meeting as we gather to address national challenges and make progress to achieve success according to your will. May this meeting be productive and fruitful, advancing our efforts towards greater achievements for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Miss Jenny. You may be seated. All right, now that we're done with the pleasantries, I do want to say and acknowledge we have amongst us this evening the chairman of the United Workers' Party. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Terrell Prudent, our chairman. I also want to acknowledge our deputy political leader, Mr. Guy Joseph, who's also here with us. I also would like to excuse, as you would be aware, our political leader, who's out of state, so he will not be here tonight. But I think that we have sufficient men and women on this United Workers' Party platform who can carry on the message to St. Lucia to let you know what we are doing. So put your hands together for yourself, because you are the soldiers, you are the army, you are the members and supporters of the United Workers' Party, and you are the ones who continue to help us initiate in that fight for the freedom of St. Lucia. Now, my people, we are here tonight, and it's business. Because there's too much happening in this country. And as we go around this country, I'm sure some of you who are sitting here tonight, or those of you who are at home, as you go around, when you go by the market to go and buy your ground provisions, when you go to the supermarket to go and shop, you go to the health center or the hospital, when you drop your children off at school, wherever it is you go, when people see you, once they see the orange band or the yellow band, they have something to tell you as to what is going on in this country. Esa bavwe. Yo ka du butu asushi me. Pour nous, témoignons ça, témoignons qui ça qui a fait tel côté, témoignons qui ça qui a fait en dit deux communes, témoignons ça qui a fait dans l'hôpital là, témoignons expérience moi là moi mener papa moi et maman moi en health center à côté. Tout pas, c'est cette lycée, chalet chaud encore cette lycée. Cette lycée pas ça point encore. And I am telling you, this is not a political talk, you know. This is reality. This is reality. Et quoi c'est Jean l'autre side là qui vle acide et fait moun kwe that everything is nice. Pas quoi c'est moun sa, pas mind sa c'est moun sa ka di everything is nice. Dio mwe dio tanto. Time will tell. Because you cannot tell people that everything is all right when you know very well everything is not all right. When you know that St. Lucians are feeling the pinch. When you know that St. Lucians are not okay. C'est moi dis ça. Vous savez qui ça un ministre gouvernement posté en les Facebook? Ça pas jamais vle quoi. Nous parler about bobol qui a fait un cimetière cette lycée. C'est moi dis ça. Nous pas ni Wimed. Nous pas ni Panadol. L'hôpital pas ni toilet paper. Yo pa ni fil sou ni pou ay faire surgery pour sa koudou. La pa ni rien, mais cette lycée ni l'argent pour faire cimetière. You all realize that? This is the priority of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Pour faire cimetière. Bon, qui sa moun ka la me en cimetière? Pas moun ki sa moyo ka me cimetière? So ki message Labour Party a ka vwe bay nou la? Okay. Sa yo ka di ay hale pou nou mo, pis yo ha fe kote pou yo sa tewe nou. And so when we speak about what is going on in this country, the fact that contracts are being issued to people to commission works in cemeteries, ek yo pa ka fe anye, yo just kay collect a check. La nada moun souma de yo kote cemetière ye mon ripo, yo pa m connaître mon ripo a jije we. Mais yo ay collect check pour cemetière to avay cemetière. Ministre gouvernement posté et qui dit while they are talking we are working, we are busy building tombs for those who will get a heart attack after the next election so we can bury them. Ça c'est ça un ministre gouvernement dit, pas moi qui dit. Allez on Facebook page qui marche can I help you? Et koukai way pour des yo. That is what the priority of this government is. Ekukwe mweko jeune femme cette lycée. Mweni mamay, mweni nièce, mweni nive. Ukwe na acide ek point ça? Si ou vle acide ek point ça, c'est ou. But I will not tolerate that. I will continue to stand up and to speak out against these things. Are you with me? Are you with me, my people? Yes. The people who are watching us on TV and on social media, I want you to shout it out in your homes, wherever you are. Are you with me? Nous n'y pou dou bout pour ça qui doit être messieurs. Nous n'y pou dou bout pour ça qui bon. Ek me vle di zo yon bagay. The things that are happening in this country, it's not only impacting a mother like me, and an elderly folk, and a father, it is affecting young people as well. Vous savez ça? Jeune moun qui just quitte l'école. Jeune moun qui just yon anti girlfriend, anti boyfriend, yo vle lon anti kay, yo just en anti travail, yo vle fan bay pour commencer la vie. Because adadi nou ha commencer la vie. Bagay ka affecte yo aussi. So I swear, mwen vlo tan, sa se jen moun sala ni pou di. And so tonight, I want to open the floor with a young man. You've heard him before, and he continues to reiterate and to tell us the issues that are affecting young people in this country. We will start with a dynamic young man from the constituency of Castries North. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Mr. Joshua Harrow as he addresses you tonight.
Good evening to all. Yeah. What going on? I said good evening. Very good. Now, I stand here to address a crisis that reverberates in every household. And I have to wipe my head for this because may say the house has become disruptive with all this chaos that's going on in the country. It disrupts dreams and burdens the backs of our people. The skyrocketing cost of living. This is not just a statistic. It is daily struggle for mothers, for young people, and for those working tirelessly for the modest salaries. It is a story of sleepless nights, impossible choices, and promises unfilled by the St. Lucia Labour Party. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, injustice anywhere is a threat everywhere. The injustice of CIP will cost us our passports everywhere. Do you agree? Under the leadership of the St. Lucia Labour Party, we have seen the lack of meaningful action to curb the rising cost of living. Despite repeated assurance, the cost of basic needs has soared. A loaf of bread has increased by 20%. Imagine, $1 could buy you 4 loaves. You can barely even get free unless you know the baker. 2, my God, even worse. Fuel has increased over $16. One day they once complaining in our administration when it was $13.95. Now it's $16 going to $17, and they're quiet. Oh, meanwhile, wages have stagnated, leaving many families unable to make ends meet. Where is the support for the single mothers choosing between food and school supplies? I don't know if you recall back in Bexar when Roche came on the stage to speak and uttered a story of a mother who has her kids going to school on rotation because she couldn't send all of them to school while working many jobs. Now, it's 5 years of government administration. Imagine if these kids were in secondary school and they barely got to go to school, they don't graduate, and now you're still in the system because you cannot get a job. The actions is reoccurring and there's no solution. Where is the relief for the young man whose dreams of owning a home but can't even save for a down payment? A promise made should be a promise kept, yet this administration has fallen short. The failures extend to health. The St. Lucia Labour Party promised a stronger healthcare system, yet we continue to see overcrowded hospitals, limited access to medication, and exorbitant medical fees. Imagine that. Statistics show that 40% of St. Lucians avoid seeking medical care due to the cost. So imagine you have a nation where it is easier to get unhealthy food than healthy food. And because of your low salaries, you aim for the unhealthy food, you ingest the unhealthy food, you get sick from the unhealthy food, to go to the hospitals, and then to even stay there for a long period of time just to come back home with the same issue. The cycle continues to circle around because we do not have proper forms of living, we do not have proper salaries to pay for better food, we do not have a proper life, and we continue to do the same thing over and over. Why do you think St. Lucia has a high rate of diabetes per capita? We are the highest in the world. And yet we have the stagnating healthcare system. Insulin is hard to get. How can we take care of our biggest human resource, us, if the people continue to get sick, continue to go to the hospital, and continue to come back with the same situations because there is no proper health care. There is no universal health care that they claim to have. Another dimension of this crisis is the alarming rise in crime. Now, before I start this, I want to say that crime is part of the agenda of free will. You cannot eliminate crime, but you can create solutions to solve it. What Pierre said, he not a police officer, his father was? Yes. So would you not learn by example if your father was part of the reason why St. Lucia did not have so much crime back then? How do you not know that? You are the Minister of National Security, but the security is yourself and your administration. A nation is in crisis and is being divided. And when the people are divided, the nation shall fall. And St. Lucia is falling under the pressure of its crumbling foundation due to ignorance and lackluster behavior by people who talk and people who do not work. The global economy casts a shadow over our struggles, but the government's inaction exacerbate these challenges. Inflation, volatile markets, and lingering impacts of the pandemic have created a perfect storm. Projections for the global economy suggest slow growth and persistent financial instability in the upcoming years. Now, I would think that the Prime Minister would know that. Why does a youth have to come and tell you what the future of the country look like? I thought you were the Prime Minister. You would have seen that coming. So if I would have seen that coming, why would I have a 2.5 health and security levy that is compounded on the people? That makes no sense, but again, secrets, lies, and propaganda, as usual. Let me give you some solutions. First, we must demand policies that prioritize the people. Subsidies on essential goods and services can provide immediate relief to struggling families. So rather than pinch the foundation of the businesses, why don't we add relief? Right now, the economy is sick and it needs a relief. Rather than be part of the sickness and the virus, rather than be the VIX that we need to help heal ourselves from the nonsense that's happening. Secondly, we must tackle healthcare crisis head on. If we are offering universal healthcare, let's offer universal healthcare. Stop doing a bubble and saying it's this when it is that. Don't tell me I'm paying 2.5 levy and then telling me it's for a loan. Don't tell me no shit. Then when I get to the hospital, I on the floor on a mattress and waiting 2 days to see a doctor. Third, we must empower young people, and I say this. Do not ask young people to join the politics and then shame us when we get on the platform to talk about the politics. You want change, you want the future, and we still have dinosaurs there from since before I was born. You cannot tell me how you planning my future, my brother. You were there from since the past. I don't understand. You get your package, just be gone. Please and thanks. Fourth, we must address the root causes of crime. We must look at creating jobs, improving education, and offering community support. A lot of the times we do not go into our communities and show the support that we need to. We must build proper community relations. Let us not see politicians when it's election time. Let us see our people all the time. Do not be afraid to talk to them. Do not be afraid to hold them accountable. Let's stop with the lies. So the road ahead is going to be very difficult, I'm telling you. Running a nation is not an easy thing, especially when you have an economy that is changing faster than technology, especially when you have young people coming out requiring new things, new studies, and new ways of getting into this market. A recent study has shown that those with master's degrees suffer the same job lacklusterness that those who do not have a master's. So the market is hard. You can get your education, still be unemployed. You can have your education, still be unemployed. No matter which direction you go, you can still be unemployed. We need to change that. We cannot ask people to have a requirement, and when they get it, they cannot get anything. That is a problem that we must address. So, as I close, because I don't want to hold you all up for the time being, we have a lot of wonderful speakers. Nancy already started and already gave you all the energy, so I want to continue to vibe. But I want to say this for all of those hacks and haters underneath our lives. I want to say thank you so much. Your presence adds to our viewership. It really does. It makes me so happy when you come and watch, because my uncle used to say something. My uncle said this: if everyone likes you, there's a problem. If everyone hates you, then you're the problem. But if some like you and some hate you, then everything is fine. So that means some of you hate the United Workers' Party. That means we're doing just fine. You understand? So for all of you who are underneath the live and you're hating, thank you for being there. You're just increasing our viewership. So thank you for being a hater with a purpose. Understand? Thank you. And I say that with a smile. Y'all know me already. I said I first smile. So, let us change the way that we think. Let us change our approach. Let's incorporate our young people. Let us not be a nation that is complacent and a nation that sits there idle. Let's not talk the talk, let's walk the walk. Right. Orange, it's sunrise and sunset, the dawn of a new era and the culmination of an old. We must be part of the foundation. So I say this for all of those under the live who are hating the saltiness, the lacklusterness, and the papi show. For those of you who know my motto, SLP, SLP, you understand. For all you labor hacks tonight underneath the live, I hope your week is as salty as you think it is.
Come on, y'all can do better than that. Let's head for Joshua again. And I want y'all to make the noise a little louder so the salty people under the live can hear. Let me hear you. Let me tell you, these people don't have a life. All they do is they pay them, maybe they give them a little phone credit, and they tell them, Flambeau is having a live, go under the live, and just insult people and talk nastiness and papi show. So those of you who are under the live, welcome. We are not deterred. You all have been trying that for a little while now. But Joshua gave it to you all. So, my people, you heard from the young man from the United Workers' Party. So, c'est quoi c'est moi qui s'est parlé? Zoela ni jeune homme qui s'est parlé primaire pas c'est moi toujours hein. C'est des qui ni baï, des qui ni pas I tell you all already, United Workers' Party is never short of a man or a woman. We have all what you need around here. We have it. And I like what he said about injustice. That if you allow injustice to happen, maybe to just one individual, you tolerate it maybe in your community. What you do not realize is that you are creating a threat everywhere around the island. And my people, there is a lot of injustice happening in this country. A lot. A lot. Everywhere after we lost the last election, one of the things that people told me, Mahapulezot, but they said, Nancy, you know why you lost the election? Because y'all were not looking out for Flambeau. Y'all give Labour Party people job, y'all give Labour Party people contract, y'all give Labour Party people this. So I said to them, mais yo c'est cette lycée tout. Y'on pour manger tout. Mess Flambeau qui là, c'est mess nous. Nous lever en caille qui ni clason. Nous connaître mess. Nous savons, les Flambeau gagnent élection, Flambeau c'est gouvernement, ni Labour, ni Flambeau, ni pièce parti. When the United Workers' Party is in power or we're in office, we ensure that our policies are targeted towards every single St. Lucian. But the injustice that is happening in this country, sous pa Flambeau, ou pa ka manje, ou pa ka boire, ou pa sa marcher, ou pa sa fanye, you have access to nothing in this country. Nothing. I'm sure you've heard stories of people. Let's look at this, Messi. People, elderly folks who are under the caregivers program. Now, nous pas parler about ces caregivers là. Nous pas parler about ces grands mouna qui couche en lan couche. Yo pas ni personne pour venir faire bail yo. Et que yo teni un moun qui ka vini nettoyer, bouille manger, faire ti bail yo. Are you aware that since the Labour Party has come into office, over the last 3 years, they have systematically targeted these old people and removed the carers from them because you're the Flambeau yo usav. Est-ce pas vrai? I have testimonies of that and I can give you all stories. Messieurs, ça pa bay ka fait nous la peine? Is that not an injustice? I mean, come on. Un gwa madame, un gwa monsieur. De la yo pate même ni ish, de la ish yo lot pays, be la pan personne pour point ke yo. Un moun ka vin bouillant ti manje ba yo. Fait un ti nettoyer ba yo. Ou ka tiye se moun sa la, et ou ka di se Flambeau yo ye, et ou ka vwe yo l'autre côté. Let me tell you something. I'm a praying person. And I know St. Lucians, we are praying people as well. And I pray to God for forgiveness. But I also pray to God for vengeance for these people. Anset moun pasaka wicked konsa. Never. And I am telling you that if we do not stand up for those simple things, it may seem indifferent and simple to you. You may think you need to stand up because they take a contract for somebody or a job from somebody. Peut-être tu prends un contract là manger non, mais ça travaille, qu'il fouiller des pieds figues, qu'il planter banane, qu'il font bail. Mais c'est gros moun ça pas faire rien pour quoi yo. We are the ones, St. Lucia, who must stand up for them. We are the ones who must stand up for them. And I can certainly tell you, it's not easy because there is a systematic silencing of St. Lucians in this country. You realize that? People are asking, why are people not speaking out? Your pay. St. Lucians are living in their country. Koyo fet, kobo yo tewe. Moi si la ni Jean cette lisi, moi hen sa an chay moun supposé hen sa, yo de ka tewe lon bui ou ba pied coco, a pied bois yo ka lon bui yo tewe cette lisi ou sav. Et que yo passe à parler le en bay ka fait un pays qui pas bon. What type of country is this? And that is why we are urging you for the rest of the year to go around and to wear orange. Wear something that says, I am not happy with what is happening in this country. I am a damn proud Lucian, and I am going to stand up for what is right in my country. I will not be silenced. You have to say that as well. You will not be silenced. Pays moi qui là, cette lisi moi fait, cette lisi moi ye, n'a parlé en pays moi. You must talk. You must. I saw a post on Facebook by a young lady who works, et qui pas travaille directly by government. Il pas travaille by Ministry of Education et Ministry of Health and by kohan. She works for a statutory corporation. Okay? She works for a board, one of those boards. Who has say board la yoni to batwa? She works for one of them. And she posted something on social media about the road condition in her constituency. Imuche tuwa, imuche signboard la ekidi ilep yo onje bagay sa, pis tout sa ka kwaze machine denye muna community ya. You will not believe what happened. You want to know what happened? And that is reality, I'm telling you there. This individual was called in by the CEO. Ex-CEO a just venu. He just come down. Il pate là. He just come down. He just arrivé. She was pulled up by the CEO and she was told to take it down because people are tagging the Prime Minister and tagging the Minister of Infrastructure, and it is causing embarrassment to the government of St. Lucia. Ou quoi ça c'est bagay? Actuellement, moun pa hap me porton à la Facebook. Sou ka travail by gouvernement, statutory corporation, board, n'importe bay, ou pas ça dit rien. Nothing. Because most of these people as well, you would understand they are on contract. Sometimes the contract would be up for renewal, or sometimes, you know. So people are being silenced. And that is what you call blackmailing. That is illegal. You fight TA. They made her take it out, take it down. Can you imagine this in this country en cette lisi? Les flambons pour de voix. Flambeau kapos, Leba kapos, PPP kapos, LPP kapos, MPM, n'importe ça, yo kapos. Ma jamais tan pièce jaune. Ex-souhait ça jamais fait. Moi même kay dou tek pas la bot li tout hein. Souhait Flabo jamais fait ça. Let the people talk. If they identify a problem, fix it. That's what you all should do. Fix it. I looked up the meaning of patriot. Do you know what a patriot is? A patriot is somebody who supports their country or who defends their country against its enemies or its detractors. That is, in simple terms, what a patriot is. Do you know what the meaning of a traitor is? A traitor is somebody who betrays a friend. Have y'all seen that or heard that? Betrays a friend, a colleague, a party, a government, a country, or somebody who's a sellout. Y'all know one or two of them? I'm pretty sure. Let your imagination run wild. You can identify quite a few of them. So the traitor you'll have in your government, il pa te wè tout apri te ay wanje. Le ite ka pa we pou betray pays sa, because il pa jamais ton patriote. Ite ka blâmer tout mam gouvernement Alan Chasney. Il te dit c'est un tel qui te ka empêché il fait travail li. Un tel te ka interfere en ministry. Un tel te ka fait si tout moun. Everybody to be blamed but himself. Exordi à côté. Depuis je sorti en hier from li. So qui laisse ka empêché il manger chez toi? Qui laisse ka empêché il manger chez moi? En bas il ka empêché il dit la pli. Depuis temps moi fait, moi lever cette ici. Gros papa moi travail toi avo. Rain or storm, she make a manger cette lycée. In 2023-2024, she me passe à manger cette lycée, top l'appli. L'appli ka kweve janvier, février, mars, avril, whole l'année à l'appli ka kweve, she me pas à manger. My people, these are the things that I want you to start thinking about. You see those of you who are listening to me at your home, and I'm not blaming anybody, because maybe the circumstances, you thought this person was what you thought he was. Mais à cholma, tant fait tant quitté tant, you see what he is right now. Okay? Personne pas empêcher il fait rien, mais hodi joyen pas fait. Okay? My friend, post your story again. And I am putting a challenge to all of you here. All of you who are listening to me. When you go home tomorrow, take pictures of the potholes in your constituency. Take pictures of the broken bridges in your constituency. Take pictures of, this is the year of infrastructure. Take pictures of the infrastructure in your constituency and post it on social media and send a message to the traitor and tell him, fix it. That is what we want you to do. Not pull up people and threaten people. All right? Not that. But as we continue with our program, we still have more young people with stories to share. Joshua spoke to you about the cost of living, about the hypocrisy of this labor administration. I have another young man. Tonight we're displaying the young men, eh? United Workers Party is putting a showcase of young men tonight. So I want you all to call a friend. We have another handsome young man in the house. His name is Mr. Earl George, and he's from the constituency of Grosile. Please, let's give him a flabber welcome as he addresses you tonight.
Good night, Mama Flabo. Today we're facing a reality we cannot ignore. The cost of living in St. Lucia is killing the youth. Families struggling, business closing, and our youth are being left behind. Now, this didn't start overnight, but it has gotten worse under Labour. and we will not get in a solution. Price for food, gas, current continue to rise and our pay still the same. But they added minimum wage that not making any difference. Because of our current living, our young people and their potential are being drowned under the government that has forgotten us. Where is the response for those who are in power? Our health cares. Families cannot even afford to see a doctor and the cost of medication is too high. Before you would buy the ingredients to cook to save, now buying the meal is the same price as one ingredient in the shop. But no more. It's time for young people to rise and make their voice heard. That's right. My friends, the solution to this crisis... My friends, the solution to this crisis requires more than words. We need leaders who will act bold and who will address the root causes of this issue and who will make the well-being of our people above everything. St. Lucia deserves better than neglect. Let us hold this government accountable for their failures and demand a better future. A future where every St. Lucian can afford to live, feel safe in the communities, and access quality health care. Together, we can break the circle and build a better St. Lucia we could be proud of. My people, red means stop. So why they vote in Labour? Thank you very much.
Red means stop. Red means danger. Red means do not venture there. Okay? And do you know what yellow means? Yellow is a safety color. Did you know that? Are you aware that yellow is a safety color, St. Lucia? So you realize that's why they're painting all the bridges in red now. But they're sending you a message. You have Dubai. The bridges are not safe. Danger. You pa apwete yo pou fetu avay la. You ka pay moun half sayo, half samuna, lot half lapa half fetu avay la. Okay? You heard it from another young man, Earl, from the constituency of Grosley. And he said something, St. Lucia, that the potential of our young people. This is something that is very, very important. We need to create more avenues for our young people so that they can realize their full potential. Now, the Buddhist house of Kisale Bakadi, right? Kya yogadi? Youth economy, youth economy, youth economy. Good thing. But let me tell you something. Out of the thousands of young people in St. Lucia, do you think that every single one of them wants to be an entrepreneur? Do you think every single one of them wants to own their own business? So you make preparations for a few of them who wants to open up their business or whatever. But what about the rest? What are the opportunities that you are creating for the rest? The young men and the young women of St. Lucia. And like I said to you, these young people, they have a lot of potential. These young people, they want to start their life. They have a lot of goals and dreams. Like he said, they want to start saving so that they can build their homes. But all their money is going into groceries. C'est juste à de se ramin tout seul metan moun gamay. Ek puis ramin mouté. What is it what? How are these young people going to survive? How are they going to save? How are they going to do something for themselves? I can certainly tell you that it is only a united workers' party who thinks about these things and who asks those difficult questions and who will make the necessary policy changes to ensure that our young people can thrive in St. Lucia. Only a united workers' party government. Only a united workers' party government. So, I want to tell you that St. Lucia is always safer in the hands of a united workers' party. Always. Look at it for yourself. Just think about it for yourself. I want you to ask yourself and look at the difference when Labour Party is in government and when United Workers Party is in government. Gade pou kou. Ma oblige dou si pose ka wey. les bas en gouvernement, tout ça les bas qu'a fait. C'est pour la petite les bas et les bas. Always. It's always for the St. Lucia Labour Party, the SLP, the comrades. It's always about them. They don't care about you. They don't care about the ordinary St. Lucian. You look at the policies that they put in place for the poor people of this country. The policies is to do what? To keep you poorer. It's always to keep you poorer. They don't do anything to help you so that you can do something for yourself. They do things to ensure that they can give you piece of the bread. You only whole pain, you have. You have a whole pain. You can say you have a tite pain. So, fin, you can have tite pain. Right? By the time you have tite pain, you can say, merci, monsieur Leba, merci, si pas monsieur Leba, moi te kay mo, moi he not tite pain. Mais ou pas realize that qu'il a no whole pain ba ou, mais you ba tite pain. So là, au fin de tete pain, ou kay vie encore, ou kay di encore pain, tete pain fini, yo kay couper l'autre chop pain, yo kay ba l'autre chop dan yoko. Yo ba whole pain toujours. And they will feed you like that in bits and pieces, so that at the end of the day, you are always beholden to them. You think people are not smart enough, and people are not wise enough to see that this is the pattern of the St. Lucia Labour Party? Zokwe moun pa apon, ebe set lisien ka we. Just like lisien eklewe, the people of St. Lucia is saying, enough is enough. We have had enough of that. We have had enough of that. We want a government that is going to ensure that they put policies in place that people can work in this country, they can live in this country, they can thrive in this country, they can work until they're ready to retire. Nobody's going to force them into retirement. That is the mantra of the United Workers' Party. And let me tell you something. When you look at it, look at what is happening to you. The $100 that you used to go to the supermarket with to buy, you would come out with 2 plastic bags. Actually, I come to a supermarket as a madam. Lani do 3 items, madam ni pou gen, c'est madam ki ni pou servi. Ou ka gen $2 $100 fini. I'm telling you, we know that, ladies. You go and you buy certain toiletry items for a lady with $100, 2, 3 items in that little bag, and that's it. So people can't even take care of themselves properly. Because soon yon ti mamay, un pou ka chile, ki sa ou kay fe, $100. Un pou gen pain, un pou gen tuna fish pou me a pain, un pou gen titak mayonnaise pou ma tuna fish la, un pou gen ti lon yon pou sa me a di den pou lorde tuna fish la sorte. Ou kompon sa nadou la, $100 fini. Man he pon sel jou. And then if you have your vehicle, when you will drive up the road, because some people are traveling from Castries to Vieux-Fort every day. Well, traveling from Grosile to Castries now is like traveling from Vieux-Fort to Castries. The time you spend in traffic, stop and go, the same amount of fuel. $13.95. I had a diesel vehicle, you know. And you know why those of us who have diesel vehicle, why we had diesel vehicle? Diesel used to be cheaper than gas. Y'all remember that? Diesel ba de pli bon marché pe gas? Le mwen ten machine diesel mwen van mwen ka drive now is o gigi le hote ka pe kome pou gas na pe $9, $8 pour diesel. Right now, we are paying $16.50 gas or diesel. From $13.95 to serve. And let me tell you also a secret. You know that $2.50 that we had instituted on the tax revenue to be able to fix the roads. Are you aware that Labour Party is still collecting that tax? Y'all know that? Zobade sab sa? Y'all are not aware that the St. Lucia Labour Party, as a matter of fact, when we do the calculation, they're collecting even more now. But they are still collecting the $2.50 on the price of gas, you know. And the reason we did it was we collected the money so that all together we would be able to take loans to fix the road. Yo kamase l'argent. Yo ni, you savez qui ça yo ka fait pi? Yo ka bay madame yo travail. Yo ka bay jabal yo travail. Yo ka bay jabal a travail. Yo ka bay jabal ish yo travail. All of them are working on the money that they are collecting on our heads, and the people in St. Lucia cannot eat. That is the St. Lucia Labour Party for you. So I want to encourage you. If you are driving a vehicle in St. Lucia and you do not have an orange band to say to the St. Lucia Labour Party, the price of fuel is too high, get an orange band. Nepot hadouni la kayu, sunya t-shirt. Coupe bout t-shirt like deshiwe. Coupe bout t-shirt like deshiwe yak mawe yamiwe. Dile ba puis gasto ho. You'll have to send a message. Don't wait for me to give you an orange band. Find something orange in your house and wear it every single day. Let the St. Lucia Labour Party know enough is enough. You have to stand up, my people. You must stand up. And speaking about what is happening with our road conditions, I'm sure some of you heard some of the things that is happening in the taxi sector. So important sa yo ka fese taxi driver. Premier ba mwetan. La teni kome moun yo teni 600 moun mwende yo di ki teni H plates. Y'all heard that? About 600 people that had H plates. Labour Party vini yak yo di yo bay denye se moun sa TX. So si la teni 1,000 TX, yo me 600 an le yonko. But si la teni 100 moun ki ka vini. And I can certainly say to you, you have seen it yourself. I don't see the increase in tourist arrival. So it's the same bread or even a smaller bread that has to be shared among more taxi drivers. All right? Same amount. Exe Jean, qui ont ces different authorities, they are frustrating the taxi drivers. So ladies and gentlemen, I have a gentleman here tonight. He works in the taxi sector. He is an operator. And he is going to share with you his experience tonight as to what is happening in this sector. So please, help me welcome. And again, I say to you, we bring people here who can speak the facts. All right? Help me welcome Terry Valse, who's going to address you this evening.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to excuse me for my throat because I have a sore throat. But also, I'll try my best to address you the best I can. The reason I'm standing here tonight, basically, I thought twice before I came here and before I gave Nancy a response to speaking tonight. Based on one, because of the position I hold in the taxi sector, I have to be careful and mindful as to what they say. But after thinking of what happened, I made a statement this week. And after I made my statement, I saw it was all political. I said the Labour Party will not leave anything unturned. I made a statement which was factual, what affects us at Point Seraphine. After I make my statement, 3 weeks, we tried having a meeting with management of Invest St. Lucia to no avail. By the time I made the statement, a call was placed on Thanksgiving Day while one member of management was overseas. Further to that, he placed a call to Sheldon Daniel to intervene to try and discredit my statement as to it was a lie. The president at Courtesy Taxi supported my statement, which is the gospel truth, and we stood by our statement. St. Lucians, I want you all to understand, the Labour Party is out to destroy St. Lucians. And they have people placed in all different circles. Why would Invest St. Lucia, and I will call the name. We have two problems in the sector. Invest St. Lucia and the Ministry of Tourism. Invest St. Lucia, Courtesy Taxi has been a tenant for 42 years. We have paid Invest St. Lucia close to $2 million in rent. And today, I use a term they did not like. I said the prostitute Point Seraphine. And let me explain that to y'all when I use the word prostitute. People might feel that it was a wrong term to use. But let me explain to you so you will understand exactly what's happening in the taxi sector. We are the ground handlers at Point Seraphine. All of a sudden, Invest St. Lucia has given concession to 13 boat owners to come and compete with us. These are individuals. And what's happening, every boat owner has their own dispatcher at the back. But they will restrict Courtesy Taxi as to how many dispatchers they could have. So at any given time, we are always outnumbered. Before, we knew boats just had to do land and sea. Now, not just taxi drivers are being affected, vendors also. Because anytime you travel from sea to sea, vendors will not get an opportunity to meet with the people. So, this is the situation we are faced at Courtesy. On a day-to-day basis, with the introduction of the boat, we have lost about 60% of our revenue. And I could tell you that last week, for 4 days, cruise ship days, you could not get 30 men to take home $1. That's how bad it has gotten at Point Seraphine. And they want to silence people. But I'm one person you cannot silence. And I know they will come at me and try and twist it and say I'm playing politics. But if that's why I get in the support, I will stand with them because the Labour Party, the Labour Party in opposition stood when they were making the statement Black Lives Matter. So now it's bread and butter for taxi drivers. My fight is for the taxi drivers who only have one place of earning $1. This fight is not about Terry Valse, where Mr. Daniel try and play it on his show to make it was political. It's fact. And any right-thinking St. Lucian, when you have the time, take a walk at Point Seraphine because they will never allow the media to go to Point Seraphine to record the nastiness that's taking place. They try and silence us, but we are going to take action. The action will take, and we will want the support of the opposition also by our side when we decide to take action. Because I know there are families in there. Their livelihood depend on the taxi driver taking people out, going down to Soufrière on the road, which is very bad, taking the gas to the vendors to feed their family. So when the time comes, we want your support. And we know there are taxi drivers and St. Lucians, I don't know for some reason, why are we so coward to stand for our rights? Do not allow the Labour Party to intimidate you with the people. You might have friends, they might not be happy, but this is your bread and butter. I want taxi drivers and anybody to question them. Is their life any better pre-COVID than now? 2 years at Point Seraphine, we did not earn $1. We still had to pay Invest St. Lucia the rent. We had to pay. Some men, that's the only place they have of operating, Point Seraphine. And when you cannot take $1 home or feed your family, what do they want you to do? And add insult to injury, an organization with about 200 men. You could see the small before, if you people who know Point Seraphine, when you're driving into Point Seraphine, there's a parking area before Alias Frosses. Yeah. This parking lot cannot hold 200 members. But whatever little we could, that's where we use. Invest St. Lucia now have contracted a Trinidadian company to erect a building after we have spent money in erecting a building for the comfort of members during the rain and the sunshine. Where are we going in St. Lucia? Is it a plan to get rid of the taxi drivers? Then, Move away from Invest St. Lucia. Here we are faced with Ministry of Tourism. During the COVID season, I spent all my time during the off-season sitting down, dialoguing, putting policies in place for the taxi sector. A group of us, there was a committee. To date, we cannot see the final draft. I've requested for it as chairman of the union. Up to a day like today, simple question. How many taxi drivers have applied for the transition? They don't know. How can you be issuing something and you do not have figures? We have had 2 meetings. They're playing games with us. They have sent the DPS. The PS have never availed themselves to our meeting, and a tourism officer. Follow-up meeting, we are no better. But we have made up our mind that we are not ending this year if we do not take action and our answers are not answered. So I'm saying again, I'm making a plea to St. Lucians and taxi drivers. I do not care whether you're Labour Party or whatever, flambeau or no party. It's your livelihood and your daily bread. And I want the wives, the children, to stand behind your father or mother who's a taxi driver and let them know this is not about politics. Those politicians are earning their salary, they are making a salary. We have to deal with the poor condition of the roads, the high price of fuel, the inferior quality of parts that have been brought into this island, and once you replace it, 2 weeks later you have to replace it. We are worse off under this government. Say I play politics, I really don't care. It is what it is. Yes. The fact remains that Alan Michael Shastney, when he was Prime Minister, we had a better cruise ship season and we had more monies in our pocket. And this is a proven fact. You could take a walk, Southern taxi drivers could tell you that. They do not have to go to their reserve. There was nothing like off-season. Flights were landing here every single day. Today, when you leave your home, you're spending money that you will not recover. St. Lucians, taxi drivers, time to wake up. We are being taken for granted. They are ignoring our cause. All I could say to the general public, I will apologize from early o'clock. Some of y'all might never make it to work. Some of y'all might get to work late. But when we take our action, we are only fighting for our daily bread. So please bear your patience, but we are ready to do, and we are expecting some of y'all to stand in solidarity with us in moving forward. I thank you.
Are you in solidarity with the taxi drivers? St. Lucia, are you going to stand with those taxi drivers? Messieurs, c'est mon ni madame yo pour preke. Yo ni ici pour voir l'école. Yo ni affaire yo ni noel ka point. Tout le monde veut peinturer kayo. Tout le monde veut gen anti fridge neuf, anti stove neuf. Vous comprenez? Vous voulez gen washing machine. Ou a connaître madame la nen noel point. Pressure yo ka mettre dans les émissions. Yo voulez tout bail neuf en kay la. Garde ka oui là, ça vrai. Some ça moi dit vrai. But let me tell you something. Nous pouvons pas parler about curtains, like mats, like kettle, like by comme ça. Nous pas même y juste là. But this is a passionate plea, St. Lucia, from a man who's fighting for his livelihood. I want you to get that. Terry did not come here as a member or supporter of the United Workers' Party. I asked him to come here because I thought it was important to let the nation know that si yo pa katan yo manye, yo kaitan a lot manye. But they must hear. They must listen. So I know that there are some supporters and members of the St. Lucia Labour Party who are viewing us tonight. And I am making a special appeal to you. At least on this matter. You can play your politics when you want, you know. Ma do pas supporter Labour. Et ma même do pas vote by Labour. Souvle vote by liberation. But I am telling you, at least on this matter, you need to say enough is enough. You need to recognize that your government, the St. Lucia Labour Party that you voted for, promised to put the people of St. Lucia first, and we are demanding that they put the taxi drivers of St. Lucia first. And that is what we are standing here for. So I can tell you, Mr. Valsin, I am going off on a limb. My chairman is here. My 2 deputy political leaders are here. And I am making an executive decision on their behalf that I know they will support. We are standing in solidarity with the taxi drivers of this country. We are. And you know why I am making that statement? Because a few years ago, about 18, 19, the Labour Party wanted to win general elections. You all remember 96, 97? You know where I'm going, right? 1996, 97, you have gain election. C'est moun sa passe tout partout cette liste. Ek yo di se John Compton ek UWP qui ka tué fig cette liste. Yo fait fama gou mais kont yon a lot. Yo fait fama passe brûler chez l'autre fama. Yo fait fama passe couper fig fama qui te zabo. You remember that? Where is the banana industry today? Combien bread fig nou ka vwe England, Jordia? Si men sa, combien bread fig nou ka vwe England? Ou sa combien l'année y handi, depuis tant le ba pou nou pa vwe an yen, pièce bread fig England? The Labour Party has killed the banana industry. And today, they are threatening the lives of the taxi drivers of St. Lucia. Si nou pa nou bout, si nou pa supporte yo, this thing will be a thing of the past as well. And I can guarantee you, pa kwe wezon yo ka fe sa, se just kon ou sav. Yo ni an comrade, yo ni an friend, yo ni an member, yo ni an supporter that yo ka try mene pou take over. So it's not just that they're trying to kill the taxis, they are making way and opportunities for their people. That is the mantra of the St. Lucia Labour Party. So when you see a gentleman comes up here and he says to you that 60% of their revenue has been lost due to the fact that there are now boats coming and collecting people. So pa kwa sa ka affecte se muna? You don't think the taxi drivers have loans to pay? They have to pay the loans on their vehicles. Yon pou gen tire by machine yo, yon pou gen brakes by machine yo, ek nou pa pala about chime soufouya. Kose, l'anjan soufouya isi ya? Jean Slawe soufouya? I mean, what is going on that, nou kay dis an log. I will tell Mr. Guy Joseph to address that one for, because I don't understand that. Ma contract ek ma engineer, mais soit sak ka fet, unless she make ale soufouye la, ça a lot story by itself. But imagine the taxi drivers have to traverse that road sometimes twice a day with their vehicle. Akalte shime sa. Ekuka di mwen, so y'all don't want to do the right thing? Y'all don't want to discuss? So Terry and the taxi drivers, those of you who are listening, it will inconvenience me, and it may inconvenience a few of us here. And we may have to get to work late on our children. But we will remember why we are doing it. We are standing up for something. So let us stand up and let us do the right thing. I saw a video of a gentleman, I think it was in the Boulevard, and they were asking about Christmas. You all saw that video? Ite hawen well because he m'a chemise rouge en lay. C'est ça moi ça dit. And let me tell you, the testimonies are endless, you know. The man said that the best Christmas he ever had was when Uncle Shas was in power. And that's a fact. That's a fact. Because this is a man who cares, and this is a man who's always thinking, how do I better the lives of St. Lucia and St. Lucians? and to tell you a little bit more about the mantra of the United Workers' Party and where we are heading as a party, I would like you to give a warm welcome to our chairman, the mighty chairman of the United Workers' Party, a man that I've had the honor of working with. He's had a long-standing history. Shakti like mo se pale UWP when pou notes. Because, usav, la ou jena bay la un pou notes from se muna ki konet pli, right? Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our chairman, Mr. Therol Prudent, as he addresses you tonight.
Mama Flabo, ça va bon? Mama Flabo, Mama Saint Lucie. That's right. This week was excellent. And to all those who participated in the Orange campaign, give your hands up, give a big hand. Give a big hand. Because we executed flawlessly. The message was loud and clear. We want to change this country. And this government must get out of the way. Tonight, I'm not here to only tell you bad things about what's happening in this country. But I'm also here to state emphatically why the St. Lucia Labour Party does not deserve a second term. This is the message tonight. And basically, we have what you call hypocrites in power. Sakwe hypocrite. I'll say something tonight, and I hope those on the live, you're listening. To those in the diaspora, good evening. To all of our St. Lucians everywhere, good evening. No good government should ever entertain pretenders and liars in the government. Utan Samadi, no good government should ever entertain pretenders and liars in the government. And the first on the list of liars and pretenders is none other but Philippe Pierre, the Prime Minister of this country. La pani en pli go mal wat ki ka manti pli passe Philippe Pierre. And tonight, I want to read something from the manifesto. Papay, however you really, because the constant vini konet ki man yese ka manti banu, and the things that they say because they wanted to come to office, and eventually they are in office, they pretend they never said those things, they never wrote those things. I will read, and I will come after them immediately after. It says, a Labour government will adopt and govern by the principles of inclusion. Utanwe, a Labour Party government will adopt and govern by the principles of inclusion. Combien flabok included? None. Zot pièce ici pas included. Philippe Pierre went on to write, equality, meritocracy, in addition to the general principles of good governance, is how we are going to rebuild this country. And I'm asking you, after it is clear that Labour wants no other person involved in the country, in governing this country, pas même Alan Chasney et puis Bradley, nous électé même quand yo pas vle yo assise en kay conseil. Kayo ki la. Men a di yo, Kaila bagay sa zot pour tout temps. In the next year and a half, we will send you back to your real homes. Because a United Workers' Party government will be in government and we will be able to do what's right for the people of this country. But guess what? He spoke about inclusion. He spoke about meritocracy. Meritocracy means that if I'm hiring somebody, I'm not hiring them because they are my friends. I'm hiring them because that individual is qualified and can do the job. Are you with me? Your child just came out of high school. That way on, he has CIP. I'm talking about Philip here. Let's not pretend there tonight. What qualifies your daughter to be working with CIP? What qualifies the former commissioner who happened to be your godson, we're told, being commissioner of police? Ça c'est meritocracy? No. Once you are going to not follow the rules of if they qualify, and just because they happen to be your children, and just because they happen to be your godchild, you will put them in positions of influence that they are not qualified for. I am saying to you, you're a damn liar. I will say to you, exclusion, we've been excluded. They talk about crime. We can tell very clearly that the Labour Party is unable to manage the crime situation in this country. Alan Chasney and us, the United Workers' Party, sends him a letter. Let's work together because we have ideas. What did he do? He tear it up and put it in the dustbin. Is this man for real? You talk about building a nation, but you can never build a nation with 42,000 St. Lucians and forget the 37,400 that voted for the United Workers' Party. You don't have a nation. Once you are going to exclude the United Workers' Party supporters, 37,400 who voted for United Workers' Party, what you have is a SLP nation, not a St. Lucian nation. Because a St. Lucian nation ought to encompass not just those who voted Labour, but all those who voted the United Workers' Party. CIP. They say, Mawi gwete du bout la, ekouye ile sa nou ten pou kouye ila. Si mani pou fay encore, nou kay fay encore. Because Ernest Ile is the dumb, dishonest, and corrupt individual who should not be in any government in this country. And when you can tell me that your prime minister pretends as if he don't know that you have done wrong. You didn't know he did wrong with Jafali? You didn't know that he did wrong with the Rovergate? You didn't know that he did wrong with CIP? Philip Pierce knows, sees, and knows everything. And then he pretends to us that have nothing to do. There's nothing to see. But I'm telling them, the prosecutor they have there, they better save it, because all of them going to jail when a United Workers' Party government gets there. Once we can find out that you have stolen money from the state, once we have found out that you have done things that are not right, we are going to ensure that you pay the price. Tout temps politicien pour aller l'argent ici, nous pas jamais ni un country qui bon. And you want to talk about setting people free and putting them first? The only set of persons who have prospered under a St. Lucia Labour Party government are the ministers of government, their wives Jabalyo Eklot Munyo Nidewo. And what is happening is you have to understand the way the St. Lucia Labour Party operates. The St. Lucia Labour Party operates in a small circle where the 15 people who they like that nous pas vote by you, nous pas jamais vote by ces boucs. They were voted in, so they eat. Là, yo passe à manger encore avec bouche yo, jol yo, vini toago, yo passe à manger encore, yo passe à valer. The crumbs is what you get. And guess what? Before the crumbs get to you, there's another circle outside of the smaller circle, which is the henchmen, the hacks, those who go and do things for them. Those saki ai chwe munbayo. Saki ai fesu sebayo. These are the people who are benefiting. And guess what? By the time it gets to the voting public, there is nothing left for you. This is how the St. Lucia Labour Party operates. And they will give you, if they know you need $1,000 to get out of poverty, they will always give you $10 until the day you die, and you will never get out of poverty. And the reason why they do this is because they want to control your votes. So they talk about Malawi. They tell us they're Malawi, they're for Malawi. But how can you be for Malawi when United Workers' Party has done more to bring Malawi out of poverty into middle class? This is the kind of work that we have done as a political organization and as a party. You know, this is the same man, when they won, put his suit on, even though he had purple, yellow, and all kind of socks on his foot. And then he goes to the court to intimidate a judge to make him dismiss the case against Ernest Ile. Months afterwards, this liar says to us that he was never there. He was never there. And tell me in good conscience, how can anyone in their right minds want to support Philip Pierre and the St. Lucia Labour Party? You know, we also know abundance land. You mean to tell me you have a fella that loves to get away with things, had his visa revoked, UWP expel him, you all say he's no good, and then as soon as he came to your doorstep, he was white as snow? He was white as snow. And not only was he white as snow, after you won, you even put him in your ministry and in your office. And then when he sells Bannan lands on the price, you tell us, I don't know nothing about that. I don't know anything about that. You know, CIP is in a mess. And I'll be plain and simple about CIP. We are to buy infrastructure, look at about la, combien billion dollars, blah, blah, blah. And nous mettez in simple terms. CIP, c'est bagay côté politician qui belong à SLP qui a volé l'argent pays. Plain and simple. Qui a volé l'argent pays. And guess what? Only one group of people are benefiting. Those around the minister and the minister himself and the cabals within the St. Lucia Labour Party. But then you have food prices. Yesterday we protested against the high cost of living here in this country. And I'm proud to say that in the whole week we gave over 100 strips of cloth out to people and motorists in this country. And we are proud of that. Raise the awareness. So the Prime Minister still tells us it was about Ukraine. You mean to tell me, manger a descend en tout pays, cost manger a descend en tout pays? I was just in Europe, you know, guys. I went to several European countries, and I can tell you the cost of living is lower in every single one of them. But I come back to St. Lucia, and our food prices are still high on the supermarket. So there is no move to try to subsidize, because that money they want it for themselves. So they want the Malawi to pay for it. They want you to be the ones to pay for it, as opposed to subsidizing and ensuring with the drop in the prices of food that you can benefit. Christmas is coming. How many of you can buy a turkey? Pas même un coq ou qu'elle s'achète. Pas même un coq ou qu'elle s'achète. Un gigé ou un poule. And that's how difficult the situation is here in this country. But I said to you also, the price of oil per barrel has gone down all over the world. And why are we paying $16.50 for oil in this country? Have you ever thought of it? And those hypocrites, they know. They know. Why isn't Jamari saying anything? Why is Jamari not saying a word? Because everybody is profiting of the backs of the poor people of this country. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it. I don't regret standing with fellow soldiers of the United Workers' Party protesting in front of his gas station. I am not afraid. And to ensure that we inform the motorist that was passing, these are the people that have the prices where they are today. Because of their absence in terms of your tut lang yo mawe. Your tut lang yo mawe. Don't have a word to say. But I'm winding down. And I'm saying to you, the Labour Party also spoke about stabilization and growing an economy. Let's just read a little bit of the Papi Show they put there. Look at them. You see how thin they were? You see how thin they were? Oh, yeah, yo go say, Agisa, en bef. Yo wonk en bef. Gardez ça. Ti kou Philippien konti Turkey. Oh, yeah, gade yo. Oh, yeah, gade yo. Gade kalte. Yo wonk en bef. Because things are nice. Everybody's living well. Just Emaka we TikTok. But I'll say to you tonight, he said, our people have largely been turned into second-class citizens in this country. That's the Labour Party and Philippia saying that in the last manifesto. Our people have largely been turned into second-class citizens, while preference is given to foreigners. My friends, l'année un homme qui a build un bagay ici à Rodney Bay, tout gens cette ici qui a payé 2.5% levy, mais nom la pas payer. Who is he? Not a foreigner? Is he a solution? No. But they lied to us. They know very well the 2.5 is not for hospital and security and all this kind of stuff they put into the 2.5. What they wanted to do was to show Alan Shasney, yes, you brought down the VAT to 2.5, we're bringing it back to 15%. And that's what they did. But they're not hurting Alan Shasney. They're hurting you. They're hurting the people of St. Lucia. They're hurting those who need the most to be able to have a living here in this country. Those who want to be able to feed their families. Those who want to be able to send their children to school. That 2.5 is hurting us and hurting the people of this country. And I'll say to you, look at the CIP. Who is benefiting? Galaxy AB Max. Yo yon kini thousands of dollars. Kosa ou? Ek mwen vle di tout se leba ki an ba life la. Kote l'argent CIP a. Kote that. Whilst you making all that noise under our life, kote l'argent CIP ou. Money, mate expect pou jwen because man bay bobola. I'm an honest man. I've always lived my life on honesty. I work for everything I have. Everything I have. Ek le mwen ale pou anti holiday l'autre pays, c'est pas l'argent taxi qui a payé pour lui, c'est l'argent Terrell Prudent et puis madame li qui paye pour lui. So pas kay vini di that oh gade, c'est chairman Flambeau. So suddenly c'est l'argent moun qui ka voye à les places. We came here to dedicate ourselves to allowing our party the best opportunity to win. And that we will work to do. But I want to say to you, Flambeaus, before I depart this stage tonight, unity is required of every single one of you. You hear me? Unity is required of every single one of you. And I have said it once before, and I will say it again. Le parti a fait décision in terms of ki moun yo ka moute pou election. Mavlet and Gwek, you all must follow and vote for the person the party has elected. I don't care who you were supporting before. I don't care who you want to be minister. The only people that you need to vote for, or persons you need to vote for, is who the party tell you is the best person who can win the seat and become minister. And so, in ending, I will say to you, Labour must go. And Labour will go. Labour, 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 Labour. Thank you very much.
Labour, 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 Labour. That's right. Because St. Lucians, we are calling on you to put your country before the party. That's what's important. Putting your country before the party. All right? Christmas is coming. And the chairman asks you a question. He tell you that while the cabinet members, they are busy, you having gwa. They laisse yo, isam say yo nou gay ni pou gen cho viande pou Noël. Oh, yo having gwa, yo having go. Boudin ka moute, de ka moute, tout baay ka moute. Ek set lisi ka vin meg, set lisi ka fin, ek yo ka fe toum pou yo sa tewezo. Me yo ba tewe mo? Eswe mwen Nancy Charles, yo ba tewe mwen. Because Coach Manado, mwen sa femme ka travay wed pou tout sa mwen ni. Na travay wed pou mwen manje, pou mwen souwe fami mwen. So yo ba tewe mwen. Mais là, dans chaque Saint-Lucien qui pas ni un choix. Peut-être opportunité à moi, pour moi, ça fait pour comment yo pas ni. Vous comprenez? C'est pas nous tous qui en même dégoût. Là, il y a des gens qui dépendent en le gouvernement pour yo ça manger, pour yo ça point que to am famille yo. That's a fact of life. Everybody is not independent. And that is what governments are there for. To ensure that the people they need to take care of, they can take care of them. You heard the Labour Party with an ad that talks about an 80+ program. So hatan ad sa akuma. Of course, the government is providing free service. They put 80+, upan pu pay pu medication, upan pu pay pu doctor visit, upan hopotan adla. So let me tell you all something. I wish I had brought the tape, but I will play it for you all on Thursday on Meet the Opposition. Anti monsieur, me modeka kuye ti boy, me na you respecte. Anti monsieur kuye team, j'ai dit, eh ben mercredi. Moi écoute ça ek moi oui. Modeka kuye team, moi di pa kuye team awa, pa fait ça. Can you imagine St. Lucia? So for those of you who did not hear it, Timothy was speaking about the 80+ program. And I think one or two callers also called because St. Lucians have been calling about that scam. A scam killer. That's what you have to call it. It's a scam. Because you cannot advertise and tell St. Lucians that if you are 80+ and you go to the doctors and you go to the hospitals, that you do not have to pay for the visit, you don't have to pay for the medication, you'll be taken care of. Let me tell you all something. The first time I knew this was a scam was earlier this year. You know how? Gibeon Ferdinand, he's a member of the cabinet. His great-grandmother died in Deriso. She was about 102 or something like that. And prior to that, she was hospitalized at the St. Jude's Hospital. Le madame la te ka kite l'hôpital, ou sav St. Jude ba yo an bil? So, on ti ishli, kouye, e ki mande, ki manye zo di zoni 80+ program ek zo ka ban bil, madame la ha ansan lane, ki bil zo ka ban mwen? And many more St. Lucians have been calling about that over the last couple of months. Gouvernement pa di anye. They have not pulled the ad. They continue to play it over and over again. Mariani isi dokai kuye newspin eki kaidi. Oh, I want to clarify that the 80+ program is not available at the major hospital. It's not available at OKEU, not at St. Jude's, only at the Wellness Center. What garbage is this? Why did you not say that in the ads that you were running? Why did you not say, I mean, Timorusa, eswa la wan moun mate. Ek yo kwa yo ni vis, ek yo kwa yo ni plan. They don't know how to be honest. Run an ad and say, we are implementing an 80+ program at the wellness centers around the island. But do you know why they could not say that? Because it has always been free at the health centers. Sakwe mate. They could not come out and say that because agwas mwen sorti, la nan health center mwen sa marche sot kay my health center just nan le chimaye. So mwen have sa ka fet an commune mwen. Il a toujours. Il a pour l'air. But I am telling you, and those of you who knows that, it's always been. Always. And it's the same thing with the universal health care. You know, the government of St. Lucia is providing free maternal care for all pregnant mothers. Moi fais 4-ish, moi ni 4 mamay. Moi fais toute clinique mamay, moi en health center en Guas point. Juste toujours, les madame qui fait ishli, ou ka mout en health center, your prenatal care is free. You ka ba on ti yon tablet, you ka ba oui pour rien. Everything is free. It's always been. But you come in and run something to say you're doing something that is already being done. That's what you call a scam. Okay? That's what you call a scam. And that is what the Labour Party is presenting to you, St. Lucians. All right? Et quoi c'est moun qui ka defend Labour Party ya, ou vle parler about Chasney this, ek UWP that, ek this, that and the other. I want you to explain to me that scam. Defend that. Come and defend that. Let's parler about Alan Chasney. Parler about sa gouvernement ou ka fait. Come and talk about these things. But let me tell you something, St. Lucia. The more I think of it, the angrier I get. Because I'm telling you, Noël Capon, ek la tenyon Noël, un premier ministre du bouton la plateforme, ek qui dit c'est criminel là, give the people a break for Christmas. You all remember that? A lot by matin encore. Ou savent? Avec été, messieurs. Ou savent Kenny Anthony du bouton la plateforme, ek qui dit ça? Ek lesser of flood dit Kenny Anthony dit ça. Kenny dit pas jamais dit ça. Il fait speaker, fait take back what she said. Yo fait tout maman gay avec madame là. Yo jour après les bas perdre élection. HCS hate pour côté Kenny Anthony dit criminals give the people a break for Christmas. These people it's in their culture. It's innate in the culture of the St. Lucia Labour Party. They cannot be truthful and they cannot be honest. And that's why I was very pleased when the chairman says to you that he is an honest man. And I can vouch for the men and the women on the platform of the United Workers' Party that we are honest men and women. We have integrity. We stand up for truth and justice. Il comme l'année tous les jours c'est guy. Yo gouvernement han 3 l'année. Yo pas hena hier les guy. That's a man of integrity. He never did anything wrong because y'all can't find it. Find it. And if it doesn't exist, you can't find it, it doesn't exist. So let me tell you something. This is a platform of men of integrity and women of integrity. We have standards. We stand up for things that are right and truth. And to continue with that integrity, to continue with that standard, we have another former member of parliament. He is currently vying, and he's the candidate. He's the former MP for the Ancillary Canry seat, and he's going to be the future MP for the Ancillary Canry seat. He's also one of the deputy political leaders of the United Workers' Party. He's shorter than me, but I'm taller than him. That's right. And he's a man who's also very powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our deputy political leader, Senator Dominic Fede.
Now, in case you see I'm a little taller tonight, Nancy had a trick to compensate for her shortness. She bring a big 16 stone. So I said to her, look, I'm going to take opportunity of that stone as well. But mind you, the stone is not as big as the stone as Labour gave all of us. Mamai Flabo! Now I must shout out the folks of Ancillary Canneries. I'm seeing a lot of folks there from Ancillary Canneries. Let me hear you make some noise. Coming all the way from the West Coast, standing here in solidarity with the movement in Grizzly. I'm seeing some faces that are coming to the Flabo Live for the first time. Come on, give the people of Ancillary Canneries a big round of applause. And they have assured me that side by Soufrière and by Castries South and Castries Southeast, we are also bringing home the ancillary seat to the United Workers' Party. The people of Ancillary and the people of St. Lucia are all convinced of one thing. And that is, if you're talking about Girard, he cannot manage. And if you're talking about Philip J. Pierre, he simply cannot lead this country. Now, I am really upset, and I must share something with you that happened this week. And as Miss Edna walks in from Bosses U. Grizzly, I want to take this opportunity
to big up Miss Edna, who is 82 and looks damn fabulous. So, but as Miss Edna went to exercise her democratic right this week, during one of the mini protests that we had, where we went to the CIP office, and where our PRO, Mr. Spider, went and dropped off a letter by the CIP, by the Prime Minister's office on the waterfront. And he went to say to the Prime Minister that you must fire the Minister of CIP, and you must fire the board, and you must stop all applications from Galaxy from coming in. And Miss Edna came with us. And one would have thought that the police would have been so busy going after the real criminals. Within 20 minutes of us being there, for an 82-year-old woman, the Prime Minister called the SSU to come and to disrupt what is a most peaceful protest that was harmless. So instead of going after the real criminals, he went after Miss Edna and all of the peaceful people who were there on the protest. No wonder the crime situation in this country is as bad as it is, because when you call the police, they tell you they don't have a vehicle. When you go to them to solve your issues, they tell you you need to get a lawyer. When you need that help to make you safe, they are not there responding as urgent. But Philip J. Pierre can call the SSU for 20 people because he's so afraid. But you know what, Philip? You just start to be afraid. We just start to mobilize. The United Workers' Party, we're giving you a break for Christmas. Okay? And when Christmas passes, we're coming back in the new year, and we are going to be a worse nightmare. So we're just warming up. We are just showing you we're just showing you what is to come in this country. Because Philip, and you and your cabinet, you have simply failed this country. When the people of St. Lucia look at what's happening to them, and I understand why the man said that under Alan Chasney things were better, and he was looking forward to his Christmas. He's not the only one that is saying that. A lot of SLP supporters are also saying that, Mr. Prime Minister. They understand that when they go to the supermarket, they have to choose what to eat. They can't eat properly. And because of that, their lives are at risk because of bad diet. They can't, when they go and they say they're going to try to see a doctor, if they fall sick, their lives are at risk, Mr. Prime Minister, because you have mismanaged the healthcare system of this country. When they go to a little fete, not even here in Rodney Bay, where we used to say that's the area where we can feel safe, that you can bring the family, go get an ice cream. In Rodney Bay, they are shooting you down. So whether it is the cost of goods in the supermarket, whether it is the healthcare situation in the country, or whether it is the crime situation, we are feeling very unsafe in this country, and our lives have never been at risk. Mr. Prime Minister, the year of infrastructure has been a total disaster. I drove down the West Coast to see some friends of us. We had a little get-together, our constituency branch. And what did we see? It took you from Ancillary to get to a little community called Anslavady. 20 minutes. You have potholes. You have swimming pools. You have craters. You have, I don't know what to describe it. It is the most appalling piece of road construction I have ever seen in my life. And that company, Namalco, is doing a tremendous disservice to the people of St. Lucia. So while you are there worrying about what you're going to get for Christmas, Namalco is getting it good, eh? You drive down the West Coast and all their trucks, not even a truck rental they're giving to a local,
Okay? They bring in all of their trucks duty-free. They bring in all of their excavators duty-free. They bring in every single thing they need duty-free, because this government of the St. Lucia Labour Party, whether it is GPH, whether it is Galaxy, whether it is BMAX, they continue to sell out you, the people of St. Lucia, while they give the foreigners every single thing they want. Yes. So, Mama Flabo, it's not a great Christmas. We have to really do our best and come together as family members to see how we can patch up money and to have a good time despite it. But it's not an easy time in the country. It's not a time where you can look forward to say, I can see, you spoke about a turkey. My guys in ancillary canneries were into pigs, okay? Who is killing a pig for Christmas? I'm coming by Magdalene on Christmas Day. And so, Mama Flabo, we have the most difficult time. The Rodney Bay Road here in Grosley. What is the update? You said that there was corruption. We cannot hear anything about the Rodney Bay Road. Nancy spoke of the traffic that people have to go through and endure here in this constituency of Grosley. The airport project is in a standstill. I mean, the Prime Minister, aren't you ashamed? You're going to Dominica. I would have said to Skerrett, if he invited me to come to open an airport, knowing that I have my project on a standstill, I would have said, listen, Skerrett, brother man, listen, I cannot come and be there with you because I have to get my airport project going first. And until I get my airport project going for my people and for my community, I cannot come and sign any ceremony or to cut the ribbon with you, because our airport project in St. Lucia is on a standstill, Mr. Prime Minister. And so while you are talking about the year of infrastructure, what is happening? What is happening to the Rockall housing project? I mean, we realize that you say that you're going to build 66 apartments and 14 units. I don't know if it's out of concrete or plywood or what you're going to build them out of. But I suspect when I look at the mall in Castries next to the Princery, I suspect that you brought a company all the way from Europe to build a plywood mall. And so, my friends, what is happening to the Rockall housing project? The last thing we heard, the man was in jail. Next thing you say that the man gave up his shares. He's not the shareholder. And now the money is going to come from somewhere else. Martinez came and he exposed you. He showed all of the contracts where you were giving away the money on this project. Well, the people of Castries East and the people of St. Lucia wait in vain to see what is happening with the year of infrastructure. You see, while we were building the roads in St. Lucia during COVID, and while we were using the opportunity lost from tourism, because we looked at the economy and the tourism industry was completely shut down by COVID. And we saw construction as a stimulus. Construction is what gets people through hard times. Construction is what causes people to get through cost of living. So your sons and your brothers, those of you who are not strong enough to go and carry blocks yourself and carry a barrow of cement, that those people can go out and work and get monies very quickly while we build on the infrastructure of our country. But the Prime Minister and the Labour Party, they don't understand that. They don't understand that Christmas coming, that you need more than the STEP program so that you can have money in your pocket for this Christmas season. They believe that by putting you to cut the grass, that is sufficient and that alone will take you through. But my friends, you and I know that if you don't get a barrel this Christmas from overseas, if a family member does not send you a few things here and there, that this will be the toughest Christmas that you, the people of St. Lucia, will have. And so now, by making sure that you continued with these projects, that wherever they are, And I am reminded now of the waterfront project in Ancillary, where a government saw Ancillary as an opportunity, a place where it has one of the nicest bays in St. Lucia. But yet, Labour Party government after government has been neglecting the true tourism potential of Ancillary. And so we set about to now construct a refurbishment of and an upliftment of the Ancillary waterfront. And what we did was we said we're going to build a restaurant so that Ancillary can be converted into a yachting village. We built it. It's open. It's there. Closed. Shut. We built a hotel. 10 rooms on the square of Ancillary. Completed. Waiting just to be opened and equipped. We built the new vendors facility on the waterfront. But what we were doing, we were not only supporting construction jobs, but we realized by building these important infrastructure that the people of Ancillary could now get jobs as the tourism industry takes off in Ancillary. That's what we were doing. The Labour Party inherited all of these great projects which we've left behind. And instead of trying to complete this for the people, they want to get rid of the history of Dominic Fede and Alan Chasney. They want to protect the victory while they expose the people to high cost of living by them not getting the jobs that they need to improve their lives, to afford the expensive cost of gas and LPG cooking gas, and to afford the expensive cost of groceries in the supermarket. So they left these projects, like they have left the Rodney Bay Road, like they have left the new St. Jude's Hospital. I mean, who in their right mind would go back to a building that was built 80 years ago? Who in their right mind in this era of hurricanes and natural disasters and climate change would go back to a hospital, an essential facility which needs to be kept open, and you will go back and put a galvanized roof? Who in their right mind would do that? Times have changed, and the United Workers' Party is your government that is up to the times. We will show them, when you get us back, how to run this country, how to fix healthcare. And so, I'm here in Grosley, and I must talk about our ailing water infrastructure. I am so sorry for you, the people of Grosley. I'm very sorry, and I say this, I am sorry for you. When the United Workers' Party government, came into office in 2016, we met a situation where the John Compton Dam, which supplies water for 60% of the country, was in a silted state. In fact, the dam had lost 90% of its capacity. We also met Wasco losing 55% of its water that it collects no money for. All of the pipes are leaking as you go through the north. And we said, look, there are several options that are available to us. One, we can either go the way of a desalination plant. We had the engineers to see if it was possible to get the water from the sea. The engineers came back, they said that that was a very expensive option. Our best option, and this was done in conjunction with the Caribbean Development Bank, was to drill the John Compton Dam and to repair our pipelines. We set about to drill the dam. We built a sediment disposal area. We put out to tender the contract to drill the dam, to desilt the dam, so that we can improve the storage capacity of our main water catchment in St. Lucia. We did so. It cost a lot of money. and we got almost 10% of the silt out. We improve the capacity of the dam so that when it rains like now, the dam can store water. And in the dry season, you have the storage in the catchment area. The St. Lucia Labour Party administration said, like many things, that the project was corrupt, that Flabo was involved in Baba, and Wasco, they stole money, and that they were going to come, and they were going to put the special prosecutor, and the special prosecutor was going to take us to jail. Well, it's been 3 years. I have heard nothing about Wasco. All I've heard from Wasco is that Wasco has mismanaged the situation which they have found. That Wasco has now said to people that they are declaring a water crisis on the people of St. Lucia, which means that if you are building a house, you cannot get a water connection. Which means if you want to wash your car, you cannot use Wasco water. Which meant that Wasco will send you the water once a month, once a week sometimes, so that you can fill up your tank and then they give it to somebody else. And so now, this crisis could have been avoided had they continued the dredging set aside by the United Workers' Party. But as usual, labor, everything for labor is politics. Politics and politics and more politics. And so what we did, we dredged the dam. We made sure that there was a plan in place, that we were going to buy a dredge as well. And that dredge was going to now be operated by local St. Lucians. We were going to create jobs locally, right here in St. Lucia. And they set all of that aside. They said that the dredge was too expensive, that somebody in Wasco was going to make a money. And they discontinued the purchase of the dredge. Now we are back to square one. I want to ask the Labour Party tonight, how many meters of silt have you removed from the dam since you came into office? I know the answer to that question. The answer is 0. You have done nothing to improve the water situation in the crisis. You have failed the people of St. Lucia when it comes to their water supply. Now, if you cannot manage a simple thing like water coming through the pipe, how can you manage a country? How can I trust you to run and manage complicated areas like crime? How can I trust you to even get a simple thing like a pothole right? You cannot do that. And so the time has come, my Flabo, for us to right the wrong. For us to go out and tell the people of St. Lucia that the only political party in St. Lucia that can rescue this mess that we're in is indeed the United Workers' Party. So under Alan Chasney, our great leader, he made unprecedented levels of monies available to Wasco. Kenny Anthony was picking up a dredging fee from you, the people of St. Lucia, for many, many years. Y'all remember that? You were paying a dredging fee, but there was no dredging going on at the John Compton Dam. The only dredging that took place was when the United Workers' Party came to office and then sprung into action to rescue you, the people of St. Lucia, from the water woes of the Labour Party. And so we went about, we changed a lot of the pipes that are coming up in the north. All of the blue pipes, we imported a full supply. And even the pipes to replace the leaking pipes Wasco discontinued that project. If you go to their site in Union, you will see all of the pipes still laying there. Because the pipes were imported by the United Workers' Party, Wasco discontinued the Flabo project, which was meant to save you, the people of St. Lucia. Now, this is the wickedness that this government has. Now, the pipes were not yellow, you know. The pipes were blue. And you know the blue wave supported them. Right. But not even the blue wave they can accept. Everything for labor is politics and politics and politics. So we did not have to go through this crisis. We didn't have to be dealing with water as we did. It was on the United Workers' Party that we fixed up the Dennery North Water Project. We did the View Fort Water Project. We did the Canaries Buta Water Project. We did new pipelines in Mikud. And that, my brothers and sisters, is evidence that the United Workers' Party transformed the water situation in this country. Had we not done that, the situation would have been worse in this country. And so those of you who are getting water now, that didn't happen by accident. But you see, in the United Workers' Party, we don't believe that we need to be congratulated for getting water. That's a basic thing. Flabos don't believe that you need to celebrate us when we fix the road. That's basic. Flabos don't believe that you need to pat us on the back when we give CXC fees. That's basic. But when you see a country is successful, is not based on you giving somebody a 2x4 house like they did in Dennery. We're not looking for platitudes. What we need, Mama Flabo, is for us to continue on the trend that we have set this year. Now, you may say to me that, and I've heard people say, labor and Flabo is the same thing. You've heard people say that? I want to tonight disagree with those suggestions. Because when the United Workers' Party comes back, and I have 5 things that I'm going to list here tonight, and I'm going to close. This is what we're going to do. We're not just here looking for power because we want to rule the country again, Philip. So many times you go to Dominica, you go to Grenada, everywhere, and say we're power hungry. This is why we want to come back. We want to come back because we have to clean up the mess in the CIP by revoking every illegal citizenship that you have processed in this country. We want to come back because we want to implement a $75,000 health insurance for every single St. Lucian. That's why we want to come back. We want to come back because we have to fix the police force. We have to build it back because you have destroyed it by trying to put a convicted sexual harassment criminal to try and run the police force. We have to come in and rebuild the confidence and the morale of police officers. We want to come back, Mr. Prime Minister, because we want to remove the 2.5% levy. That's why we want to come back. Mr. Prime Minister, the United Workers' Party, we want to come back because we want to improve the minimum wage of this country, because St. Lucia should not be having a lower minimum wage than Antigua, having a lower minimum wage than Grenada, and all the OECS countries. We should not have the lowest minimum wage in the country. That's why the United Workers' Party sees it necessary for us to come back into government. The United Workers' Party want to come back because of the high gas prices in this country. Because you, the St. Lucia Labour Party administration, have used taxes to burden the people of this country. And instead of passing on the savings on the world market for oil prices and for LPG cooking gas, you have continued, whether oil prices are $70 or whether it is $120 in the world market, when it comes down to 70, you continue to pick up the change in taxes and you are burdening the people of St. Lucia. And we want to come back to fix that injustice. We must come back. Mama Flabo, are you ready to do this? Are you ready to get going? Are you ready for us to remove the St. Lucia Labour Party administration so that we can win for the people of St. Lucia and deliver for the good of the country? I thank you and good night.
St. Lucia, are you ready for the United Workers' Party to come back? Are you ready? Are you ready for the UWP to clean up that mess and that bubble that's going on in the CIP? Are you ready for your $75,000 health insurance so you can have access to quality, affordable health care? Are you ready for us to fix the police force and to ensure that anybody who has allegations against them for any type of misconduct, whether it be sexual corruption, anything, that they will no longer be at the head of our police force? Are you ready? Are you ready to remove that crazy criminal 2.5% levy? Are you ready for you to get a better minimum wage? And are you ready to reduce the price of fuel at the pump? Are you ready? If you're ready, let me hear you shout, yeah! We are ready. St. Lucia is ready for a reprieve. That is the reprieve that the United Workers' Party is promising St. Lucia. So when you stay at home, and those of you who are saying, well, Flobo just ka pale, ki sa zo kay fe, mi nou ka di zo ki sa nou kay fe. These are just a few of the things that we are proposing to you. And these are things that we spoke about and we had started during our last administration. Right now, this is what you are missing out on. We should have been even more advanced. But Labour Party has taken us 10 steps backwards. But the United Workers' Party will come back and we will correct that. Are you ready? Yes. Now, I have 2 corrections to make. Somebody said to me that when I spoke about the road tax, I said it was $2.50. Correction. The tax that we had implemented was $1.50. So in case they want to misquote me, they say $2. I'm making the correction now. That is one. And we also want to speak about the special prosecutor. You heard the chairman said to you about the special prosecutor. And I want to say to you tonight, as well as what we, nous pas fire special prosecutor. Nous pas fire. Because if one like by Chico, di akodi se bay la ki fait like Chico kamade pour intervenir, se bay ki fait à 20 ans, so il pas di rien. Pas worry. Ou tout ça ka fait actuellement, il ka fait en di 20 ans. He is in office now. So when we get into office, he will now have to investigate the people that put him in office and the things that are happening during his tenure. Et même s'il resign, nous pas accept resignation non plus, hein? Il n'y peut rester là. Il n'y peut rester là for your dernier l'argent. Because let me tell you all something. Bob Marley have a song that he sings. And the Bible says this as well. They say that whosoever diggeth a pit, you know what? They shall fall in it. Yo men special prosecutor, yo di yo ka vwe nou l'argent. I han toalande yo ba, ou ka yo ki les kay l'argent la. But anyway, let me stop. Because if I continue, I will continue the entire night. We have one last speaker tonight. One last MAPP tonight. One last man tonight. The man that they fear. The man that Labour Party, depuis autant no yoga commencé trembler. Ma qui ça y fait, qui ça y ni. Let me think la fini na me de sigwe na dis all Lord Joe. Right? But he will not tell you all the secret. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome and our deputy political leader, Mr. Guy Joseph. Monsieur, Millie vek papier gagné dans soir.
Mamai Flambeau. Good night. Tonight, we are here once again for our Sunday Live. Now, I was told Spider is watching all the way in China. Mav, Simen passe Spider te isi ayo di ma Spider ha China. Now, it should be about 8 o'clock in the morning in China, so good morning, Spider. Our political leader is in Grenada tonight supporting our sister party at the convention in Grenada. The Keith Mitchell party in Grenada. Tonight, you have heard from many capable speakers. Speakers who have highlighted key issues that we need to be paying attention to. Now, that's a top pity papier. I will put some down there. I want you to take some time to understand what is happening in our beloved St. Lucia. Listen to me. This is not a country that belongs to the St. Lucia Labour Party. But before I go into my speech, I bring you special greetings on behalf of the leadership of the United Workers' Party and our political leader. I also want to shout out a man who is synonymous with UWP activities, Skinny. Skinny, I know you're watching. We miss your presence here, and we wish that you get well soon. Skinny has not been very well, but we want you to know that we value your contribution and your presence at Flambeau events and activities. I also want to acknowledge all our supporters and well-wishers, both here in St. Lucia and in the diaspora. And there are many persons who support the United Workers' Party, but they are not St. Lucians, and they wish they could vote in St. Lucia for the United Workers' Party because they love this country, but they hate what SLP is doing to this country. Now, we heard the word democracy, and many people take this word for granted. They just think that it's about going and vote on election day or having a right to vote. And some people talk about having a right to vote, but they choose not to exercise the right to vote. But I want to tell you that one of the definitions of democracy is power to the people. Power does not belong to Philip J. Pierre and the government. Power belongs to the people. And let me tell you how much power belongs to the people. About 30-something of us was by OKEU Hospital that forced the commissioner of police to come out and make a statement. Yet still, over 70 people have been brutally murdered in this country, and we hardly hear the voice of the commissioners of police. Latini about 25 people, bo CIP office la. About 12 kides and bo Prime Minister's office. You call in SSU. Because they have 15 of you in parliament, 12 people came by the office, Uhakuye SSU. Well, we need to call the SSU to go and remove the Labour Party from the House. Because the power belongs to the people. That is what democracy is all about. And when we talk about our democracy is under threat, it means that the power of the people is threatened by the present dictatorship of the St. Lucia Labour Party. Take time to understand. Democracy is a way of governing which depends on the will of the people. And democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people. This Labour Party is not governing for the people of St. Lucia. They are governing for themselves. And so, our democracy is under threat. People of St. Lucia, you can sit in your nice houses. You can drive your fancy cars. You can have security cameras around your house. And you can have gates and bodyguards. But you still have to live in St. Lucia. You still have to go to the supermarket. You still have to drive on the roads. So if you think you are safe and immune from what is happening in this country because you have a few more dollars in the bank than some people, you are fooling yourselves. Because when the country is in trouble, yes, you may be able to eat steak, and some people cannot eat chicken bags this Christmas. That's all right. Because those who eat steak go to hospital before those who eat chicken bags. Okay? So keep this in mind. Because we believe that there is a class society, and they wanted to accuse the United Workers' Party of creating a class society. But the class society has been created by Philip J. Pierre and the St. Lucia Labour Party. Our country is in serious trouble. Have you ever asked yourself, why are people so afraid when the St. Lucia Labour Party is in office? Ou jamais tan gwa mundu kache fouet pou fouete ko? That is typical of the St. Lucia Labour Party. People elect the Labour Party and they become scared of the party. Pierson pa parli. We tell people fly a little orange flag, they're afraid. There are people who say they will victimize me. Not for flying a yellow flag, you know. For flying an orange flag to say we want better health care. We want the price of gas cheaper. And we want reduced prices at the supermarkets. Now I saw the article on St. Lucia Times after I spoke about Massey. And I want to put Massey on notice. Massey has taken over every little supermarket in every corner of St. Lucia. So there's no place for St. Lucians to compete and operate against Massey. Whether you go to Choiseul, Soufrière, Dennery, Grosile, Vieux-Fort, Castries, tout corner St. Lucie, Massey. Et tout l'argent Massey fait, Trinidad. I'm putting you all on notice from now. You see, like New York City has not allowed Walmart to open its stores down there to protect the small shops in the immediate environs. There must be something done in this country to protect local business in St. Lucia. Let me tell you what the United Workers' Party did when we were in government. For years, we have been ordering plastic tanks from Trinidad. You know that. Those water tanks. As soon as Bryce and company ordered a machine and started making tanks in St. Lucia, the company in Trinidad applied to the UWP government while we were in office to come and open a plant in St. Lucia to compete with Bryce. Nous dit nous pas capable zot pièce concession pour venir compete avec local nom là à St. Lucie. That is a government that is for the people of St. Lucia. You see, and I agree with my colleague Dominic, all political parties are not the same. So, people are afraid of doing the right in the eyes of the St. Lucia Labour Party because they are afraid of being victimized. It continues to puzzle me as to why we elect a government that we are afraid of. You gave them power and they are using it against you. Are you aware of that? The power, now we elect them to govern, but they are ruling us. But that is coming to a stop. If you take a walk into Castries, on any street in Castries, and you come across 12 people, at least 10 of them is smarter than Philip J. Pierre. Anywhere you walk in St. Lucia, if you meet 12 people, and I'm repeating myself, at least 10 of them is smarter than Philip J. Pierre and brighter than Philip J. Pierre. Because yo pas a jamais fait ces bêtises là that Philip J. Pierre a fait. You find that strange? That is not strange, but that is what we have for government. Now here's what the ministers that was elected, here's what they say. Hiller said, I am in power, and I'm paraphrasing, and I can come after all the people who are attacking me. So when you elected Hiller, and you thought Hiller was elected to see about the people of Castries South, and for the betterment of St. Lucia, he saw it as an opportunity to use the power of being in office to come after the people of St. Lucia. The Prime Minister's office, Philip J. Pierre, through Richard Frederick's talk show, attacks every citizen of this country every Thursday night. Whether you are a woman, he says when he slept with you, and if you remember what car picked you up at what time, that's a minister of government. C'est l'État ça St. Lucie, we vehodia ek a ministre, an office premier minister, and the prime minister of country like a mumu cannot speak. Because Richard have their balls in a vice. But I know what I'm talking about, and I want you to understand. When Richard said the police was giving him files, you thought the files was only on Flabos, and you thought was only on the ordinary citizens of St. Lucia. He had files on all the ministers in the Labour Party. So lei ka fe se baila, yo pa hapale. You think they don't know? And I am calling on Jeremiah Norbert, the Minister of Crime Prevention. Tell us about the contract in the Monrepo Cemetery. And tell us how a fisherman got a contract as a consultant to supervise tombs in the cemetery. Abu Kaila Mepuleta, ipa pièce architect, ipa pièce engineer, ika a consultancy contract for over $70,000 to supervise tombs. Comment to Myokabilan cimetière? And to divert attention, après ça, sous la tax nou way Morocco. To divert attention, you want to say who will be buried? All of us will die one day. And all of us have to be buried. Some of us may choose not to be buried and to be cremated. But I want you to know, when the good Lord calls on us, we will go. And that includes you too. When your time comes. But I know why is they more interested. Now is cemetery before hospital. They are spending more money on cemeteries than they are spending on healthcare and the hospital. You know why they're spending more money on the cemeteries? Because they want enough tombs to bury us. All St. Lucians. Please, Messieurs qui juste à moi try écouter death announcement. Les moi tan yo moi me quitter sabat bise. Trop moun gamo St. Lucie. I've never heard a time in the history of St. Lucia when so many people were dying. Not even in COVID, so many people died under the United Workers' Party. So the Labour Party is busy building tombs rather than buying Panadols and thread and gauze and medication to put in the hospital, rather than improving the conditions so that the doctors will not resign. Yo di nou ka chue hot tout St. Lucie. So nou ka bilase cimetière. Mwen just an yo bay a book back so a job $9 million pour faire un cimetière. Hot quoi Philippe JP eze? Le Philippe JP fini avec nous. Nous tout ka mort St. Lucie. Quitte le gouvernement hot ka isab. Quoi c'est gayon qui ka mort? Nous tout ka mort. Contracts going for hospital like there's no tomorrow. And we know there's no work. We know the work is not being done. Lahayoka siphon from government. And Mr. Prime Minister Philip JP, you know, uteme Mikey pou veye housing. Ki moun ki ka veye ya brezan? Mikey parla encore. You think St. Lucians don't know? You think we don't know what is happening? Corruption is at an unprecedented level in this Labour Party administration. And so the Prime Minister's office is a facilitator of a tax on the average St. Lucian. When the Prime Minister's office can lie to us about 80-year-olds in this country, Bandousa, c'est pour ça une special malédiction, ça. Let me tell you. There is something that is fundamentally wrong with the mindset of the Labour Party. We have to respect our elders. We have to respect the elderly in this country who worked hard to build the St. Lucia that we were enjoying before Labour Party came into office. But you know what? Philip JP is the worst of the Labour Party governments that have ever governed this country. Ou ka kwene moun ki ni 80 years ka di yo, le yo ay we doctor, yo ay l'hôpital, pour
3 hot karan ad asu radio kadi mun yo pakai pe only to find out that have nothing to do with the hospitals. Ek una buga ofisu kite me bom scare asu airport la kors le kol pou feme. Ek mi si evle tackle mwen. Ma jeme kouye pièce airport ek di land bombske. Ma jeme try chue komwe le yo awiti mwen. Ou ka vin di moun hodia se according nou ki pa kopan. And y'all still have the ad running on radio. People of St. Lucia, we laugh at these things. But it is shameful that as a people, we tolerate that from a government. I am embarrassed as a St. Lucian. You want to tell me, oh, but this is at the health centers. Depuis moi leve tima ma jamais connaître personne qui paye $1 at the PS Health Center en St. Lucie. So what is it Labour Party did? Qui sa yo fait? What is new? Musa, people are dying at the medical institutions. Yet Musa is getting paid a salary every month. And when any member of the parliament or cabinet gets sick, they fly them out of St. Lucia for medical care. And I heard a lady was saying how valuable she is because of where she works already. Oubliez, Ministre Babono, a leite voye matnik. Il dit qu'il va leite vaut $1 million. Leite ka travaille en EU, et bien qui côté de ka travaille là? What kind of crazy people we have in this country running the government? Jean Fouek Fall ki ka run gouvernement sa. Because when you tell me you're going to put a value on yourself on the basis of where you have worked, and because you have DR before or after your name, and you're not even a medical doctor, nou pem sab ko hen degree out there. Ugoban? St. Lucia, I want you to weigh in on what I am saying here tonight, because I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to tell you that we are in serious problems in this country. Because when we have a government, so because you serve at the EU and so your life is more valuable than the life of the rest of St. Lucia? What the Bible itself tells us, what can a man give in exchange for his soul? The life is the only precious gift that we have. And when you lose it, nobody can give it back to you. And people are dying, and some people feel because of the position they occupy, their lives are more important than the rest of us. So Musa, ou ka draw tous les mois, mais ou pas travail. A fair day's work for a fair day's pay. Musa, you ain't doing no work. You're not doing a fair hour's work, far less for a fair day's work. Because healthcare is the worst it has ever been in the history of this country. And I'm not the one who said it. The doctors who work at the hospital, they are the ones who said it. I'm only repeating what they said. But we will hold you accountable. You know how a doctor described the hospital? As Gaza. What is happening with the Palestinians there? That is how it is described. King Snake, after 4 years, you cannot finish the repairs to the Millennium Highway. ou te dit c'est Gayek Alan qui te campé chez ou fait travail ou. Mais là où te menti ba c'est moun ou pas te dit c'est Gayek Alan qui te fait travail la fête qui fait ou pas te garder qu'on fin en bas flambeau. Après ça la pas personne pour aider ou en bas les bas et tout le monde ka ou ça go inutile. You all want to talk about people's size and height. I want this Labour Party to understand. We are not afraid. We will stand our ground. A road that when it was built, it had tunnels. There was no road before. The road took about 3 years to build. Just to resurface the road. We're going on 4.5 years. And a minister and a ministry cannot see to it that the road is completed. And we accept that. The bus drivers, your representatives have sold you out. When we were in government, hot strike, puti choshime, bel ekipan pièce transport, ka traveler di dan la. Because hot evle strike pour support labor. Abweza tout machine hot ka kwaze, asu West Coast Road la, exot la kon moumou. But if Flabo was there, you all would be on strike. Pierre, you lied to us about the 2.5%. We have a crime disaster in this country. You sold our ports. You stopped our airport project. You stopped the state-of-the-art hospital. But you love Cabot. Même Cabot la, hot te di tout bay about. Abreza se hot ki la ka sip champagne by Cabot. So all of a sudden Cabot is good. But ça c'est pour ces couillons Saint-Lucie qui te kwe se manchons la that Labour Party te ka di wa. But moi sa flambeau pa te kwe se bêtise ça. So the question is, are we really living in a democracy? That is what we need to ask ourselves. And I agree, all political parties are not the same. Laissez-les ba hena ye pou di. Yo pas à défendre bêtise la le bac à faire. Yo ka do oh tout politicians c'est même. All politicians are not the same. And I will not just say it to you. I will prove it to you. I say an emphatic no. Because UWP is better than SLP. Democracy is alive only when UWP is in office in St. Lucia. When UWP is in office, National Trust have a voice. Unions make noise and they negotiate hard. Sa nou hatan about negotiations depuis le ba atwe. Where are the unions? Unions are aggressive. They accept 0, 0, 0 when Labour is in office. When Flabo is in office, they want 26% increase. Jispouet qui ka demonstrate les Flabo à pouvoir. Ou oublier ces prêtres là qui te vin bo parlement là. Ou j'aime tant Flabo victimize person because you demonstrate. Ou j'aime tant nou kouye police by moun because you demonstrate. Mais 12 moun ay bo prime minister's office la ou NSSU pou vin la. Autant crime ka fait Saint-Lucie ou pa NSSU pou aller là. Public servants. You can mount political platforms when Labour Party is in office. When UWP is in office, without fear of being victimized. I have seen when we were in office, officers in government, on political platforms, in red shirts. We have never victimized anybody when it comes to their political affiliations. Medical and Dental Association, they can give the government ultimatums when UWP is in office. Finally, when it got to a crisis and nothing was working, the Medical and Dental Association did not have to wait for it to get so bad to speak publicly. But I still appreciate the fact that they mustered the courage to let St. Lucians know that what we had been saying about healthcare is true. It is really bad in this country. Finally, I heard the chamber spoke out this week. Si se flabo qui te implement minimum wage sans consultation ek chamber of commerce, a dan se moun na te kay fe me business yo. But Flabo does not operate like that. Demonstrations happened at will. Even during COVID, when we said we were in a health crisis, the Labour Party took to the streets and demonstrated. Bus drivers went on strike. Taxi drivers dictated what should happen in the sector. Oh, dia Labour have a 600 license plate yo po dia. Labour te pou ben lot 600 encore. I know when I speak my mind, I sometimes get in trouble. But sa ou ache, c'est sa ou jwen. Sa ou plante, sa ou récolte. If UWP was in office, bus drivers would have gone on strike for fuel at 17.95. Nou pata nan yen. Ayen. Chimè pli mauvais Saint-Lucie parce jamais en Saint-Lucie. Yo la kon moumou. I heard the PRO on Tim's program. Oh, we discussing what's happening on the West Coast Road. When Guy Joseph was minister, every time y'all walked into my office, you know what the threat was? We will strike. When we asked y'all to reduce the number of passengers during COVID and the government was giving y'all a subsidy, y'all threatened to strike. Oh dia, hot mumu, hot pahadianye, but sao fe sawe. But I want to tell you, we welcome the voice of the Chamber of Commerce. We welcome the letter and the statement by the Medical and Dental Association because we value democracy and freedom, and we uphold the true principles of democracy on this side of the political divide in St. Lucia. All political parties are not the same. The United Workers' Party came in 2006 and we were on the verge of losing the money for the OKEU hospital. We built the OKEU hospital. We lost the elections in 2011. All Labour Party did when they came in, they went in, they did a naming ceremony. Ek yo pran chaîne, ek padlock, ek yo lakle la porte la, with a brand new MRI machine inside there. And St. Lucians have to fly out of St. Lucia to get an MRI done. Kenny Anthony, Philip J. Pierre, and the Labour Party, Yo kwene European Union na ka fe yo kwe l'hôpital all right. The defects liability period run out. Se machine na gâté en l'hôpital la. Yo pas jamais ouvert l'hôpital la. Yo fait un hot 3 années à gouvernement. Ek après naming ceremony. Ek l'hôpital la lakli. It took a UWP coming into government in 2016 when COVID hit. We were trying. Imagine nous te still ni pour build cuisine, laundry pour l'hôpital là. Les ba était là 3 années. Yo bayan nom un contract. Mande nom ça de jamais travail pièce côté pour build cuisine. Il fait 4 années là. Ka try build a cuisine by l'hôpital là et qui passe à build cuisine. Non, pas cuisine, a canteen. A canteen for the hospital. And it could not finish. The United Workers' Party had to step in and do what is there. The SLP, and understand that I am establishing why all political parties are not the same in this country. We opened the OKEU hospital. And in 6 months, we converted VH, fully refurbished, into a respiratory hospital. And you know who was the minister in charge of that project? Guy Joseph. Ek aima de osilan pièce cost overrun. Asu project la, lenu refurbish l'hôpital la, and in less than 6 months, we were able to outfit the VH hospital into a fully functional respiratory hospital. We were able to design a brand new St. Jude Hospital in 2016 when we came in. Go and study anything you want. The minimum time to plan and build a hospital is about 10 years. From the planning stage to the execution. Là nous pour voir nous pâté ça ranger vieux St. Jude's là pour pouya nous te kay pour dépenser. We made a decision as a government in 2017, about 2018, that we were going to build a new hospital. We started the designs. COVID hit. The team from Italy that was designing the hospital could not travel to St. Lucia. We had to get other people to do it for us. We were able to do the designs and start the construction. And almost we had passed 70% completion of a brand new state-of-the-art hospital in 2 years. You want to tell me all governments are the same? 12 années, 3.5 years, labor is there. And the hospital is no closer to being completed than when they started. Let me ask you this question. If UWP had come in and say, we need to spend $250 million to finish St. Jude. Kyoto vole ek bobol hote kay kuye Guy Joseph United Workers' Party. Because the Labour Party kept on saying $5 to $20 million. Some chemical and some paint would finish St. Jude. Today, the Labour Party is spending $265 million on an 80-year-old building. Ek nou tout moumou set lisi, including Flabo. Oui, Flabo moumou asu satu. Because the amount of noise we should be making, we are not making it. So, la pan bobol na ba Philippe J. Pierre. 265 million na pan bobol. But if Alan Chasney was spending 100 million, 90 of it would have been bobol. You see the double standards by which we operate in this country. And when you don't stand for what is right, then the wrong will continue to dominate. I know I have to be round enough. A UWP government by now would have completed the St. Jude Hospital more than 2 years. We were able to commence the Dennery Hospital. We had acquired the land for the Soufrière Hospital. And we were in discussions with a company from Poland who was going to give us a fully outfitted 20-room hospital in Soufrière with a decompression chamber. A decompression chamber is one because there's a lot of scuba diving and different things in Soufrière. So if you go and something happened to you under the water and they bring you up, to survive, they need to put you into a decompression chamber. The hospital we were building in Soufrière had a department specifically for that. That is a visionary government. That is a government that anticipated the future development of St. Lucia and Soufrière and the West Coast. So, you know, if UWP was in office, we would have OKEU fully operational. We would have Victoria Hospital as a fully functional polyclinic. The Dennery Hospital would have been completed. The St. Jude Hospital would be open. And the Soufrière Hospital would have been completed. So there would be nobody in the alleyway. There would be nobody without being able to get a bed and having to sit on a chair in a corner of the hospital for days. But we brought that upon ourselves. You know, they had to play a song for me. They couldn't play it. But when you go home, you can listen to it. The Choices I Made by George Jones. Yes, the choices we make have consequences. And the choice that St. Lucia made, we are paying a heavy price. Many people have lost their lives because Labour Party is in office. You know, that's not all. If UWP, and when UWP was there, we upgraded the polyclinic and put it up to working about to midnight or thereabout. In fact, we refurbished 14 health centers in St. Lucia into smart facilities, fully upgraded. All of that with COVID and one term of government of Alan Chasney, you know. And I'm just talking about healthcare. More pala about agriculture. More pala about Shime. More pala about housing. All I am telling you there is just in healthcare. That is how much UWP did in 5 years. With COVID taking 2 years of it. And we found an economy that was stagnant. Kenny Anthony said something happened that had never happened before. We had to fix the economy and do all of these things and battle with COVID. You know what? Apart from all of what I've said there, the United Workers' Party secured a 40-bed field hospital from the Americans that is sitting in a warehouse in St. Lucia today, has never been used. The Labour Party didn't see it fit to put up that field hospital somewhere to take the slack of what is happening at OKU. Bau sa field hospital yo kaime yo pasage panadol field à l'hôpital là ou quoi sa lot l'hôpital yo kaise établi. My people of St. Lucia, we need to understand we made a bad choice by electing Labour Party. And if Labour Party is re-elected, you get more of the same. I will be trying to close on this point because I know they tell me my time is up. We managed COVID as one of the top 2 countries in the world. We operated many quarantine centers. We brought back St. Lucians who are stranded on the cruise ships. We got nurses and doctors from Cuba to assist with the COVID crisis. Not for once did the UWP make an excuse to the people of St. Lucia that it was a pandemic and we could not handle it. We rose to the occasion as a government and we did what we had to do without complaining to the people of St. Lucia. You want to tell me all governments are the same? Despite the situation, doctors did not resign. Their lives were at risk, but they worked because the government of the United Workers' Party created the enabling environment for them to work. You know how much it cost to run the quarantine centers? We took hotels while other countries were putting people in school buildings, in classrooms. St. Lucia was putting the people in quarantine in fully outfitted hotels. The Starfish Hotel right across from here was used as a quarantine center. And you know who paid these bills? The government of St. Lucia. And yet still, the hospital did not run out of medication. We had to import so many masks and other things for the doctors to use. We didn't run out of anything. Panadol, no thread, no gauze, no plaster. And you telling me all governments are the same? Who is mad enough to say that all governments are the same? Our economy moved from collecting $110 million a month to $55 million. And we had to service the debt of the country, keep the country going. We begged the public servants, accept 50% of your salary, and we will give you the other 50% in a year's time, tax-free, and with 4% interest. And the same union said, never. You know what? We paid everybody their salaries. We never defaulted on a single payment of our loans. That is the difference that Alan Chasney made as the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Things were bad. We had sleepless nights, but we didn't come and cry to you because you didn't elect us to come and cry to you. You elected us to do a job, and we did the job to the best of our ability. But Labour made you all believe that we were corrupt, that we were crooked. But I want you to know, when UWP returns to office, there will not be a shortage of medication at our hospitals again. There is a difference. And I want you to know, in addition to all the things Labour Party did and did not do, if UWP was in office today, every one of you inside here, and every St. Lucian in every walk of life would have had $75,000 health coverage every year. You would not have to call Tim on Newspin. You would not have to have a barbecue for a GoFundMe. You would not have to be passing, begging people. You would have your health card. And when you went to your private doctor, you would be able to swipe your card and get your payment done. That is what you get from a United Workers' Party government. The Labour Party stopped the 4-lane road. They stopped the airport terminal. They cannot complete the West Coast Road. If UWP was in office, that 4-lane would have been completed. The airport terminal would have been completed. The West Coast Road Highway project would have been completed. VAT would be at 10%. There would be no 2.5% health and security levy on you. Parents would not have to buy books for their children because we would give you the computers with all the lessons and the books on it. A new cruise ship port would have been built in Viewfort. Our 7th crop agricultural program would have been fully implemented, and gas would never have gone to 17.95 under a United Workers' Party government. There would be a new housing project at Talvan and Shock. Both would have been completed by now. And St. Jude Hospital would have been fully operational. State-of-the-art hospital with 3 areas of specialization and a helipad at the top where if you got a heart attack in Grozile, you could fly on a helicopter. You didn't have to go to Matnik, and you would have the heart surgeries where they could put the stent for you right here in St. Lucia to save your life. That is what a UWP government was offering to the people of St. Lucia. And I can go on and on and on. But I will pause for a moment and tell you, we need to look at ourselves in the mirror. And we have to ask ourselves, are we satisfied with what is passing for a government of the St. Lucia Labour Party? I win my case in court, I still cannot get justice. If a police officer's file can disappear in the police station, you think is you the average St. Lucian that can get justice in St. Lucia? And Mr. Commissioner, before you come and talk to us as Flabos, tell us what happened to that file. Police officers report, they put in a file and the file disappear. So if the police cannot get justice from their own colleagues, you think it's you and I that can get justice? And I know I'm a target. I know you all have it for me. I get the messages all the time. But I'm not afraid. Because c'est pas Haiti qui a couvert moi. It's the God above that covers me. I don't have time. I don't have time. And for those who like to call me a bus driver, I was a proud bus driver. But when you all call me a bus driver, I want to give you all some to add to the list as I close. So for those who call me a bus driver, I will always be proud of working honestly. I'd rather be a bus driver than a drug dealer and a man who hires hitmen to take out the people he's owing. That's the difference with me. That's the difference. And if you all think that everybody is supposed to cower when the big bad wolf speaks, well, that wolf can do nothing. So I want to tell you all, here are a few things to add to the list of Guy Joseph. I was a farmer. I was a furniture manufacturer. I had a trucking company. I had a driving school. As an entrepreneur, I sold tires, used and new parts. I was an equipment owner and operator and an importer of aggregate into St. Lucia. So if you want to know how Guy Joseph have what he has, let's have a discussion. Because selectively you all choose bus driver because you all feel, and I can tell you, as a bus driver with 2 buses on the Grozile route, I made more money than I made as a minister in government. You know what the salary of a minister was when I came into government? $7,000. When I ran my bus, my money was mine. And I've always told you all, I know how to make $5, make $10. So I was successful before politics. And I will continue to be successful after politics. But I can tell you, the one who just bought the land for $187,000 and paid $100,000 cash, and the balance is a loan, and you had just had a little job in government, and the $100,000 did not come from your account. Tell us where the $100,000 came from to pay. And the 5 villas that is built on it already, tell us where the money came from to build it. Because you see, this Labour Party government is corrupt to the bone. We know. The money from the cemeteries that's building houses all over St. Lucia, not tombs. You need to tell us how these things happened. Because at the end of the day, St. Lucians have a right to know. And so, I close by saying, I will never, my soul is not for sale, and I will never drink blood to win elections. I will lose every other election in St. Lucia if I have to. Mais ma boisson pour moi gagner election. I will not sacrifice innocent lives to win elections. St. Lucia, we are in a dark place under this St. Lucia Labour Party administration. Our country is paralyzed by bloodshed, the high cost of living, the hungry children, and the sick who are made to suffer before they can see a doctor at our hospitals and even die while in the waiting area in the corridors of our hospital. That is a dark place for a country to be. But if we have any humanity left in us, let us do something while we can. Let us save our St. Lucia from the destruction of Philip J. Pierre and the SLP administration. Let us stop protecting the victory and let us protect the future for our people. I thank you. Good night and God bless you.
I told you that I can vouch for the men and women of the United Workers' Party, that we are hard-working, self-made individuals. We are honest and we have integrity. So nous sa account ko chaque dollar nou ni, nous sa dou ko y sorti. Esyo sa di men bagay la. St. Lucia, you have heard it. Tonight, I started writing when guys started saying the different things that he has done. But I'm telling you, listen, I have always learned that UWP, not only people on as candidates or ministers, you know, moun ki ka supporte flambeau c'est moun ki ka travail wed. Pour ça nous ni. Nous pas ka dépend le gouvernement ek ministre pour ban nous hand to mouth. Nous ka travail. And he told you how he made his money. He pas fait yo baye be de baye be trois baye six baye. You try everything that is legal to make your living in this country. That's what we want to push for the people of St. Lucia. But when a commission by Big Bad Wolf. Because chaque len a passé mouté d'ennemi. So I toi tika moi qui d'ennemi hein. Moi regardez. When a commission by Big Bad Wolf. Yo brisé Noël Kavini. Yo ka fait step, yo ka fait dibouchine. Bon chose plus bon à mettre de le Noël point qui a nous ka fait. Tout le monde ka peinture kay, yo ka make neuf. Big Bad Wolf c'est tika la brisé petit ouais hein. Yo brisé nettoyer là quand te waje go bois tout au lit la brisé nettoyer. Yo brisé petit ouais souple. Mettons ti bathroom moi do bay c'est mon souple pour yo faire briser yo. Mettons ti bathroom là, couille de l'eau là, c'est mon briser en bay. So si c'est cimetière tout seul il ka am fait dia y ranger cette tikay là. But people, we have come to the end of our meeting this evening. I know that we have given you a lot to think about. I know that we have given you a lot to consider. But you see, there is so much happening in this country that sometimes you may feel overwhelmed. But that is the reality. And so as we close, I want to remind you of a question that Mr. Guy Joseph spoke about. Are you satisfied? And that's for every St. Lucian. Labour, Flambeau, moun ka supporte parti ki pa yen. Are you satisfied? And answer this question honestly. Pas répondre because vous c'est Flambeau et que pas supporter Labour. Pas répondre because vous c'est Labour ou pas supporter Flambeau. Ask yourself this question. Are you satisfied with the current government of St. Lucia? Is your life better today than it was 3.5 years ago? These are the two questions I want you to think about this week as we leave you. I want to say thank you to those of you who are under the live. I want to say thank you. I mean, we have a jam-packed hall tonight, and we have a lot of people who are still outside. I want to let you know that next week we will still be in the Castries area. So we will be down in the Castries for our final meeting for this year. So we want more and more and more of you to come. Nous voulons plein là, nous try garder si nous in a pligo location. So we want more people to come as we close off the year in Castries next week Sunday, God willing. We will give you the venue as soon as we confirm. I don't want to announce it and we have not gotten the paper in our hand. But we have applied, so hopefully we should get. But I'm just letting you know, nous kay Castries. But si nous pas un venue, nous ka dou mitan boulevard lek nous ka faire meeting là. Okay? But nous kay Castries. Thank you very much to all our speakers, our young people who spoke tonight. Those of you who are traveling, we pray for God's mercy. And yes, and I want to remind you this week as well that we have a few exciting programs. I know Mr. Spider-Man Tooth is out of state, so I don't think we have his program tomorrow evening. They do? Oh, okay. You see, Flambeau is never short of a man or a woman. So we do have our program tomorrow evening on Hot 7. And we also have Meet the Opposition. Now I started on a topic, I have to finish it. So you all must listen in so I can complete the chapter on Ernest Hilaire. And we also have roundtables. Thank you very much.